I'm going to paint you a picture. You ready? Ice cold margarita on the rocks, no salt.
Oh, so good.
Old Bay French fries with 3 packets of Heinz malt vinegar.
Okay.
And then a mahi-mahi sandwich.
Oh, blackened?
Blackened.
Yes.
Brioche bun.
Yes.
Lettuce, tomato, onion, and just a tiny bit of tartar sauce. It doesn't need it. It doesn't need it. But you might want a little bit of it.
I like dipping my Old Bay fries in the tartar sauce.
Me too. It's the current seafood counter. I like seafood. I know it's not for everybody, but if you like seafood and you like quick counter service, it's not going to bust your wallet up.
Yeah.
Go there. It's Mike Smith's concept. I love it. I eat there at least once every 2 weeks. I probably eat there more if,
Lobster rolls, peel and eat shrimp, all the seafood you could imagine.
Pastas. Conch fritters, hush puppies.
Yeah, it's delicious.
What else did they have these little, they were like red snapper and pepper fritters. Those are really good. Everything there's really good. They have a shrimp burger that's really good.
Cocktails.
Coastal cocktails. They got like
draft beer.
Yeah, $7 just quick cocktails out of the gun. Amazing beers that you can only get like in Maine. Well, Mike's got them all there at the Current.
Yep, and that's the Current seafood counter right there in College Park. Welcome to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch and YouTube. We'd love it if you join us. Just search for @TomandDanLive. Come on over and hang out with us. Also, check out TomandDan.com. Brand new shirts, brand new logo from our good friends, the Danger Brain. They're doing a full brand overhaul of us. It's been... 15 years since we started working with them, 20 years since we started working with them, and they have decided to really give us a much more refined and professional look, and if you need something as well, you can check them out. Again, it is the Danger Brains.
Also, the Orange County Library right there, the downtown library, is doing their Book Fest May 17th. Brad Meltzer is going to be there, a author that your daughter likes.
He sent a lot of these I Am books where they're like mini biographies for just about any famous person you can think of, whether it be I think the one Maisie has, she has like Sally Ride, Dolly Parton, like a lot of famous, like powerful women. Arguably we stacked the deck in there, and you can meet Brad. He's gonna be in our town, and you can actually go and support our library.
OCLS.org.
There you go.
Chris Crespo's here. How you doing, Chris?
What is up, guys? How you doing?
Good to see you, man.
Good
How
to
are
see you too. I'm doing well, thank you.
Hold on, I got your theme song here.
Yes.
I just want to make sure. Hold on, that everybody see. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, he's here. He
watches all the movies, so you don't have to go. It's Movies with our friend Chris Crespo.
There it is.
All right.
There it is. Oh, wow. What's on the hopper today, Chris?
It sounded fresh.
Wow. Popcorn not agreeing with you.
No, definitely not. It's the butter.
God.
It's that all oil butter.
Must have done one of those Lake Buena Vista dine-in movies. Somebody had the buffalo wings.
Those are expensive wings, man. You got to eat them all.
I tried to book I actually tried to book a table for that tonight to see the movie Friendship, which is about the only movie that'll get me out of the house.
Yeah.
And wowie, is that expensive to book a table there? That is
the dine-in place.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Those are jacked up prices, and then you pay for the food on top of that.
But they're nice. I mean, it's super cool.
It is nice, and it's a cool experience. But it's not like I'm going to go to every movie this way.
So, what is the movie Friendship?
Okay, so if you're a fan of Tim Robinson, the comedian, I know we had Ross Padgett on the last Friday Free Show. He actually had on a Tim Robinson shirt. If you want to go back and watch it on YouTube and see if you can connect the dots of the joke, it's very difficult. I couldn't even do it. But Tim is a Saturday Night Live alum, writer, comedian. He's from Detroit. Super funny dude. He has a show on Netflix called I Think You Should Leave.
Yeah, there's 2 seasons of it. 3 seasons?
3 seasons.
3 seasons.
3 seasons.
Yeah.
It's one of the only sketch shows that I would align with Mr. Show, which is my all-time favorite sketch show.
Yeah.
David Cross, Bob Odenkirk. It is my favorite sketch show of all time. This is actually starting to devour Mr. Show.
It's up there,
This
man.
is a great, like me and Cabin Boy, Cabin Boy, we love Tim Robinson. He actually is the one that said, dude, of your style of humor and the things that you find funny, watch this.
Yes.
And he's just sent it to me one afternoon. And I started watching it after football, and the rest is history. I was like,
Did you watch them in order? Do you remember the first skit you saw? I remember the first skit I saw. I was like, what the hell is this? And I was like sold immediately.
The first sketch that Cabin Boy Matt sent me was the sketch, the 55 burgers, 55 fries.
Yes, that's a classic.
And when he drives the car and he almost hits the black lady, and then he's like yelling at her, and then she's like, what? Like, I don't know, man.
There's
so
funny.
Something about it that aligns with my brain.
Yeah.
And it doesn't align with my wife's brain because there's no one my wife hates more than Tim Robinson. I'll just say it.
Oh, that's funny.
In our house,
Wow.
if I put that on, she'll like, I'm leaving. She's like, I'm leaving
The house divided.
Yeah, she does not enjoy his humor. But for me, God, it is very...
I love it.
It's
so weird.
I'll watch it. If it's on, I'll just start watching it. And I like it when the sketches don't land.
When they go on a little long and
Way
they keep
too
going,
long.
like
There's-
the Bob Odenkirk one with the 3 Barracudas. Oh, sorry, I got 3 Barracudas. It goes on for so long. It's
also
so funny.
Bob Odenkirk.
Yes,
So it's
exactly.
got to go on too long.
Yeah,
Because
it's
that guy
perfect.
was doing it when people didn't even think it was funny.
It's perfect. It's
Yeah.
perfect. The first one I saw was Coffin Flop. That's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Like any humanity, art,
Have you
all
watched
of it.
any
Coffin
of this?
Flop is the best.
Or is this too crazy for you?
I've seen the social media.
Okay,
You sure
yeah.
about
Oh, it
that?
sounds like a grandpa. Because they're sure about that is you. Like, whenever
Yeah.
I reference, you
Yeah.
sure about that? I'm like, oh my God, that's
Yeah,
Tom.
the memes. He got memeified so hard from that show. It probably helped blow up the show too, because then people are finding out about the show existing because all the memes.
And it is so weird. I mean, I don't. It's
So
it's
weird.
so
So
weird.
weird.
The movie Friendship but it's a dark comedy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah,
I think it's him and Paul Rudd, right?
yeah,
They
it's-
become
it's-
friends.
It's Paul Rudd, but yeah. Anyway, we went on a whole I
whole
think you should leave
Tim-
diatribe there. But yeah,
Tim Robinson's
explain
great.
a little bit about the Tim Robinson Paul Rudd movie Friendship
Yeah.
and kind of what we know about it so far.
That basically they're friends, but Paul Rudd doesn't want to be friends anymore with Tim Robinson. I think they're best friends too, probably. So he's like essentially breaks up with him. That's the inciting incident. And then, of course, Tim Robinson is the one who goes crazy and it becomes like a dark comedy, maybe thriller sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't really know, and it's an
yeah.
A24.
It's an
so
A24,
There's
yeah.
a high possibility that everybody in the movie is I don't know, the killer. So, you know,
Yeah,
who
yeah,
knows,
someone's
you know,
gonna
one of
die,
them's a
probably.
god. You know, Tim Robinson then eats a bird version of Paul Rudd, and then he lives forever.
Death doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah,
Give me another
you
one
can
of
do a
those.
little bit of that.
Yeah.
Right?
He also has that show, Detroiters. Have you seen that on Netflix? That's what he
Okay.
did before. I think you should leave.
I love that show. I'll watch it when it's on.
There you
like
go.
I
Yeah.
will watch Detroit. Detroiters to me has a little bit more of it's rooted more in a story.
Yeah, it's more of a traditional show.
True, but
Yeah.
wild. I mean, these are like some of the things that they say are right up there with Righteous Gemstones. Like they
Yeah.
like they use a lot of the C word for stuff that comes out of you. You know, like they're saying stuff, and it's wild,
Yeah,
and I enjoy it
and
a lot.
Sam Richardson, the other guy that does a lot of stuff with, they're both very
Don't
funny. They're a
enjoy
great
him
team
as much,
together.
though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't enjoy Sam as much
Take that, Sam.
Yeah, take that in your face. And I know it bothers him that I don't like him as much. but-
I'm sure it'd kill him.
Yeah.
Did you finish all of Righteous Gemstones?
No, I need
Okay.
to. I started it. I need to get back on it, especially seeing now, again, talking about social media, seeing the Teen Just stuff and all the Baby Billy stuff. You know, it's like, I got to get back on
It's
that
okay.
show.
Yeah. I watched the season finale.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I
Some people are a little conflicted on. I'll just say this: I've heard people say that was not it.
Well, it's with this type of show, it's a comedy, so and it's like sometimes dark. So obviously, with especially this season, starting with the Civil War thing, like it's violent as hell. You know?
Yeah. That was actually a quite beautiful episode for a comedy. Like some of the cinematography in that,
Yeah.
they're like cannonballs blowing.
That whole
up.
crew is incredible. All the stuff they've done over
Yeah, and
the
they do a
years,
lot with a little. You could tell they had a budget,
Yes.
but it looked nice.
Yeah.
They put some
element
into it.
Sure.
You know,
Listen,
like some
effort.
love.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As long as Baby Billy's in there, I don't care what happens.
Yeah,
That's the
so
only
funny.
reason I watch it.
Now,
Yeah.
do
I
we-
will say John Goodman does seem like he has Alzheimer's or something. I apologize, but he does seem like he's in it and he's barely putting an effort to act.
Yeah, because he melted.
Yeah, well, it's not even that.
No, it is. We let John melt.
He melted, yeah.
He's
We let
old.
John melt, and you can't let your most beloved, bigger characters melt. When you let them melt, then he's making all the movements we should see on camera underneath that bag of skin.
Yeah.
It's just
that-
under there.
It's just there. We can't
just can't
see
see
it.
it.
It's better to die fat than melt away. That's
For
what they
whatever
say.
reason, his
My dad said that when he died.
every scene he's in, it's awkward to me.
Especially with the long hair.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know
Right?
why.
With the long hair?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
so it's just that it seems like why is this awkward?
Yeah.
And it may just
He does a lot
because it
of-
wasn't at the season.
He does a lot of
one.
mouth shaking and a lot of like. He does a lot of like. He does a lot of shaking my.
Like he's got like tics and stuff, like physical. He's relying
I
on
don't
that
know.
more.
This may be his last dance. I don't know.
I like that.
I don't
Let's
know.
make this whole conversation highly critical and rude. Now we're doing it. Yeah, now we're picking on a dying man. Good God. What's wrong with you? We're
I was
picking
saying with
on a
acting.
dying man.
Everybody, whatever.
Yeah. That's John Connor.
Maybe my last
Right? John
dance.
Connor? Was it John Connor? Dan. That's
Dan Connor. Dan
John
Connor.
Not John Connor.
Yeah,
What if he played
40 years
What
ago.
if he played John Connor?
What if the Terminator showed up in Roseanne trying to kill Dan Connor?
Oh my God.
That'd been wild.
So, Chris, what movies should we talk about?
Let me see. Last couple movies I saw that are actually quite good. This one's already a few weeks old, but people are still seeing it. Sinners, the vampire, like the old South vampire blues. It's like 4 different movies wrapped up in one. I saw that at the IMAX at Point Orlando, and it was an incredible experience. First, like, great movie of 2025 for sure. Really highly recommend people check it out while it's still in theaters. Eventually when it comes on like HBO or whatever. I don't know. I think it's Warner Brothers.
I heard that's one of the ones
Or
that
Universal.
you absolutely must see in the theater.
It's worth it. It's worth it. The IMAX was cool because a bit of a nerd thing. They shot the movie with like different film stocks. So parts of the movie are in, super widescreen. So it's got like the big black bars on the top or the bottom. It doesn't fill up the whole screen. And then there are other parts of the movie where they shot it with the IMAX film. So it takes up the full screen, the whole like 60 feet or whatever it is. So there are parts of the movie where thematically it works. The movie goes from like this wide format to like a super big one. And also like really, it's like the most high def TV you've ever seen, that IMAX screen.
Yeah.
So it's just so immersive where all of a sudden this thing is like you're in it in a way that it's almost 3D.
Is
without
it
the glasses.
weird to have a production company director and cast do something like that when it seems as if based on the amount of video we consume, we don't care?
Yeah,
Right? Like, is that a weird amount of effort to throw on something like that?
It's fully
Because I
like
would
a
have never
nerd
known that,
cinephile thing.
right? Like, had you not said that,
you might not have even registered it in the theater.
well, somebody needs to start saying that other than you, right?
Right.
Like, hey, just so you know, we look at all the effort we put
Yeah,
in
these
this
are the
film.
kind of things that happen. And if you're not looking for it, it may just be like a thing you feel as opposed to actually registering, the frame rate change,
Right.
You just might feel it on a subconscious level. Ryan Coogler did it because he's a, quote, an artist, and he wants to, like, do the most with his movies.
Nice.
He loves movies, genuinely loves them. But your average person, they just want to see a cool vampire movie that's, like, sexy and violent, and it has that, too, So he's allowed to get away with the artsy-fartsy stuff as long as he delivers on the commercial end, which I think he's done his whole career so far with the Creed, Black Panther. Like, he's found a way really like on a Spielberg level to balance art with commerce, straight up commerce.
You want to hear something that keeps me up at night? Hot, sexy vampires would never get breast implants after becoming a vampire. Because there's no way in hell that they'd be able to go into a surgery center around that much blood and not cause a ruckus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
You see what I'm saying?
I wasn't even thinking about
if
that.
you were watching a movie and the woman takes her top off and she's got rock hard perfect ones, she turned after the surgery.
She got him first and then
Okay.
turned.
Write that down.
Yeah.
It keeps me up at night.
That's a guaranteed timeline
I'm becoming
marker
a
right
little
there.
more like you, right? That's a little more like Tom, I feel
That's
like.
pretty. Yeah, it's very observant.
Is there
Very
any
observant.
new take on vampires in this movie, or is traditional
This time
vampire?
they're gay. They're gay vampires.
The gayest. They must have done gay vampires already. A new take, not necessarily. It's just that the way the vampirism, the theme itself in the vampires.
Oh, I have a vampirism. It'll never go down.
They're used to 4 hours. You gotta see a doctor. It's used to like tell a story about racism in America in the 1920s. It's set in the Jim Crow South, I think in Mississippi.
Are the vampires racist?
No, the vampires are actually Irish. The first ones that pop
Oh,
up
they're
are
really
Irish.
racist then if they're Irish.
They're actually the opposite, where they're the people who were treated worse than black people in America during the late 1800s, early 1900s, right? I mean, the Irish were really, really looked down upon.
Yeah.
So then this Irish vampire shows up and he goes, these black people is like, hey, this is pretty sweet. Actually, we can be superior to everyone. Doesn't that sound like a good idea? Trying to play on their, we're oppressed as well. Let's band together. There's a lot more going on with the vampire theme on top of your traditional, I don't want to be a vampire. They're outside. They're trying to get in. Let's get some wooden stakes going and like defend ourselves. But then there's also this whole other thing about music and the importance of blues, American blues, and how influential it is.
Vampires
and all
hate
genres.
blues. Oh, God, the vampires hate the blues.
These vampires love Irish.
Play the blues around me. We like happy music.
No, they actually love Irish ballads and river dancing in this one. It's
really?
It's wild.
Like those sea shanties that the stupid TikTok kids made popular after a while.
They do a couple.
Why
Danny
did our
boys.
generation, our children, why did they make sea shanties popular?
That was weird. I think it was
Right?
SpongeBob.
My daughter's like, the fan to the Billy O.T. I'm like, shut your mouth. I'm going to kill you.
I think it's SpongeBob's fault.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in Sinners where it's very, very cool. And Michael B. Jordan he's playing twins, so he's in the movie doing dual roles, and they're very idealized, like different characters. He's great in it. Everyone's great in it. I really got like pumped about that movie. As I was walking out of the movie, I was like, "This is why I go to movies. This is why I sit through a lot of crap." That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
it's one of the best
Welcome
of the year
back.
so far. Thank
Welcome
you.
back.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Speaking of horror movies or that type of genre,
That's called porno, sir.
I saw
Horror movies.
Clowns in a Cornfield.
You saw it? Or
No,
you
no, I
saw
saw
that exists?
I saw that it
yeah,
exists.
I almost went and saw that this weekend. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
called the first BDM group meeting, right?
I drove by there yesterday. I was like,
the
we're
first
gonna party there.
BDM party was called Clowns in a Cornfield.
And it rained. It rained like it's raining today.
It really did.
I was literally thinking about that. I was like, oh,
How's
man.
it look out there?
I was like, about the same. They built a fence around it.
Yeah, to keep us out. To keep us out.
And then I thought about the amount of people that drove home drunk after. And I was like, oh my God.
It's truly amazing. Yeah.
I was like, and no one, I mean,
Yeah.
our business still exists?
Like the fact that everyone got home, like everything had to light up like 9/11 to get everyone home.
Everyone
And we
gets safely.
did. And we
It's
did.
almost like a DUI super spreader.
We got them all home. We got them. No,
crazy.
hey, you know what?
Pre-Uber.
No, you know what I say? No slob left behind. No slob left behind.
Very good.
1,000 points of light.
Yeah.
There's people begging other people not to drive.
I'm fine.
Do you remember? Do you remember
I'm
my
gonna
wife
name
and I?
names,
Do
but-
you remember my wife and I shuttled people to Porky's because it was just a little bit closer?
It was like 3 miles.
Crazy.
We'll get you off Disney property. yeah. We'll just get you over here to Porky's.
Yeah, you're
you
someone
know?
else's
Stick your head
insurance
out the window.
responsibility.
Stick your head out the window between here and Porky's. It'll sober you up. And then here, that pity for your tongue. Good day.
I'm like, do you have
Yo, penny
any
trick.
crack you can smoke or anything to get you?
The funny thing is, all of our listeners have cracked the smoke. They just don't like talking about it with us because they think that disappoints
I
us.
like
Because they think you'll dox them.
Yeah.
Smoke it if you got it. Drive home.
So all of our listeners had to smoke crack to get
Get home
home
safely.
from our first party because it was
Not all of
that.
them. I just said if you had it, you might as
if
well.
you had uppers, you needed them.
Gotta stop and get one of those little tiny roses at the convenience store
Yes.
for us.
Yes,
Little
all
container.
right.
It was a different time.
So movies.
10 years ago.
Oh yeah. So Clowns in a
Clowns in a
Cornfield.
Cornfield. Apparently, it's an adaptation of a book. I think it's a book series, and it's a horror comedy. It actually has great reviews. The reviews are very solid. So, and then I was like, I don't know about this because I just honestly just saw the poster and the title, and I didn't know much about it. Then my girlfriend Marissa, she came out of nowhere. It's like, I want to go see that Clowns in the Cornfield movie. I'm like, what? Because she's not even into like horror movies or stuff
Yeah.
like that, but the marketing got her. She's interested, so I might actually end up going to see that.
Zombieland, is that the vibes I'm getting? Like something funny where you kill something and you're like, do that again.
Yeah,
Double tap crazy. Meh, meh.
Yeah, or is it like joking on the whole like killer clown genre? That's a subgenre in itself. Just look at Terrifier and how popular that is, right? Is it like riffing on the whole killer clown thing? You know, there's also the cornfield vibe is a very like typical horror film.
It is, yeah.
Location.
It's a trope,
So
yeah.
are they just like flipping conventions and tropes in some way, which is also very fun, like a meta horror film? You know, I'm very interested in it. The title is very dumb.
You know what scares me still to this day, but only the name really, is Children of the Corn?
Yes, terrifying title, terrible film.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But just thinking of like see, demonic children coming out of a cornfield, I'm like, oh, that's terrifying.
Actually, no, I've never seen the original. That might be good. But the 90s one with Christopher
Not
Reeve,
good.
no, my God. And it's a John Carpenter movie, too. Breaks
Yeah.
my heart. It's so bad. It's so boring. It's just deathly boring. That's the worst sin a movie could perform is be boring. I'd rather be bad. And I can still have fun, like a Madam Web level, like, oh,
this is what I tell EJ all the time. I'm like, just be bad.
Just be bad. Just lean into it.
It's just,
Yeah, but if it's boring, it's like, oh, nah, this is the worst. And that movie is sincerely boring.
I never got scared of ghost children. I never understood why people
Sure.
were scared of ghost children.
Well, you do make some interesting points when you brought this to my attention. I don't think I ever were really either scared of ghost children. across the board, I don't like ghosts, but you bring up good points like because they're little and not powerful, and I'm like, okay, that makes
just that.
Yeah, they're also ghosts, so you're probably like they're like transparent, or you can just push right through them.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm scared of Ghost Kimbo Slice.
That's way scarier. Oh, that's real bad.
Very intimidating.
Also, you had a top hat? Holy smokes. You had a top hat to Kimbo Slice, and he's ready for Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah.
Right? Because he had the chops. He had the chops.
Yeah, didn't have the big chops.
Yeah.
It's like Babadook Slice.
Just saying, in a fight, I'll take out a ghost boy.
Every night in my dreams, I take it out. I don't discriminate.
You make it worse.
Taking on a ghost boy every night. Okay.
Oh, God.
I'm like, which one worse? What else, Chris?
The other movie I saw that's actually quite good. You may have heard about this.
I'm sorry, that's really funny.
Are you stuck on Ghost Boy?
I love giving this guy some love. That was very funny.
That was good. The new Marvel movie, Thunderbolts, is actually a very, very good film.
I have heard, Daniel, if Daniel, you rail on these dumb movies, how much you hate them, you'll like this movie. You'll like.
It's one of the better ones
to see Thunderbolts.
It's a fun one. I still enjoy it. It's I don't want to say it's more adult. It's not. It skews more PG-13 than PG in terms of like a Marvel movie, because none of these are real superheroes, so it's a lot of gunplay and stuff like that, that kind of action. And also the overall theme of the movie, I don't want to give away what the movie's about, what the villain represents, but it's very like adult in terms of just like, you have to have some life experience to understand what the characters are talking about. But on just a pure basic entertaining level, it's funny. The action's good. It looks good. Like, a lot of it's shot practically. It's well written.
Yeah.
It's a fun, enjoyable film. I like all the actors. Bill Pullman's kid is in it. Lewis Pullman. He was in the Top Gun Maverick movie. He's in this now. He's getting a lot of attention for doing this.
Great opportunity to name your kid Pulley Pullman.
They have
don't want to point out the obvious, but that's a darn fine
That
name.
may have been taken by the older one. Who knows? He's like
Pulley
the youngest
Pullman
of 3 or 4.
is a really good name.
That'd be a good one. But he's good in it. Florence Pugh, she's essentially the lead of the movie, and she like really carries the film on her shoulders and does an incredible job. She's great. She's definitely one of our movie stars right now.
Can't get over her last name.
Pugh, yeah. Just the way it's spelled or the sound of it.
Yeah. Pulley Pullman and Pepe Le Pew.
And Pewee Pewman.
I'm a very weird person.
Hey, that's fair.
Like,
as long as you recognize it.
Well, you brought up Top Gun. That reminded me of Tom Cruise, which reminded me of the Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which I've seen a lot of commercials for, and it seems
who's
like
the comedian in that now? Oh, it's Nick Offerman.
Oh, is he in it? Yeah.
Nick Offerman was
in.
on. I saw him on like some late night show. Just a clip popped up, and Nick Offerman is in. He plays like I'm guessing he plays like bumbling fat guy to Tom Cruise, right? There's always like a bumbling bigger dude that's like, oh, I don't know if I can pull the lever for the wings, man.
That's called the
This is why I
True
hate
Lies.
everything.
Yeah, because you distill it down. It's possible that he could be playing that. Yeah, I mean, Offerman is a good actor. He's very good.
Yeah,
so.
and his beard is jet black now, so he must be doing something where he needed that.
It's a diet. Yeah.
So obviously Tom Cruise has been doing this for a while, but
Since 94?
It does seem like these movies are just him wanting to do real stunts, and that's the whole because he's hanging off the side of a biplane.
Yeah.
Well,
flying
because we don't care.
It's just like
anything he's doing is less exciting even than what Kanye's doing to me right now. I've seen all of this. Kanye, I've seen everything you're doing. I've seen all of it. But none of it is interesting to me.
Although,
oh, look, he's holding on to a Harrier. Wow. Oh, wow, he fell into the ocean. Oh, look, he's scuba diving in the world's deepest place in the world. Oh.
He is trying to make a movie in outer space, so we'll see how that works.
Oh, look, he's in outer space.
Look, it's not the ISS. Oh, my goodness, it's crashing.
You want to do something crazy? Remove your legs or something.
The problem is, it's crazy that Tom Cruise is doing some of these
Do
stunts,
something gay on camera. Do something gay on camera. You'll get me back in.
With so much
He's too scared to do that.
money behind it and so many professionals, it's not that impressive, right? Because like with all this, with you have unlimited money behind it, you can make insanely dangerous things safe.
I think they get funding from the government for some of this stuff. Like, I think they buy Like they're like, we did this in conjunction with the Navy, and then I'm like, well, I know how that works then, because you know what I mean?
Yeah. The Top Gun movies are made with the cooperation of the military, so they give
propaganda.
they get them hardware to use, so they can save money there. They can shoot. These movies are shot in the UK. I think Tom Cruise lives in the UK now. He shoots his movies there now. He gets rebates and tax incentives. They're incentivized to make movies overseas because they get 30, 40, 50% of their budget back. So now their $200 million movie becomes a $100 million movie, but it looks like $200 million. That's just the economics of it.
Yeah.
And thank God those tariffs are going to fix that, and we just won't get good movies.
Movie
good
tariffs.
movies.
Right?
Yeah, movie tariffs. How
Didn't
does that
John
work?
Voight do that?
John Voight, one of our ambassadors.
John
man.
Voight, I liked you in Anaconda, you piece of ass.
It's him, Mel Gibson, and who's the third one? I'm already forgetting. I love these ambassadors. But yeah, he's a crazy man doing crazy things. He's been doing them since 94, and the very first Mission Impossible, he has that stunt where he's on the back of a bullet train, and he's not really on a bullet train, but they did put him on a train, and they did all this actual stunt stuff with him as opposed to using a stunt man. His whole point of producing these movies from the beginning has been to escalate his crazy stunt work and do all the things that other producers and other companies wouldn't let him do. For sure, 100%. It's some sort of a fetish or itch that he has that he's scratching.
Well, in this one, there's he is actually on the side of a biplane that's flying through a canyon, And
because every spy has to stand on the side of a biplane. Yeah. So every spy's got to stand on some dated technology at a balloon festival.
I do love it. It's dated. It's probably his plane too. He probably owns that plane.
The problem is that he's got the best pilot in the world for this biplane. That the likelihood of him crashing, obviously if he crashes, they're both dead, right? We know that, but this pilot's not going to crash because he's the best. Mm-hmm. And then Tom Cruise does get out himself onto the wing, but I'm sure there is some sort of hidden.
He's probably openly strapped up. There's lines that they can just CG out the safety harness.
But he's still doing it, is the argument.
He's still doing it, but then it's I could do it technically if you have the best pilot, and then you practice in a wind tunnel.
Yeah.
You have all, the, I'm saying, and then you practice.
There's no doubt in my mind you could. Yes.
And then if I did fall off, I'd be caught by the thing. Maybe be whipped, or it is dangerous. But what I'm saying is, it's not so dangerous. That
the worst is you fall off, and it whips you into the side of the plane, killing you. So then it just has to fly back with your lifeless corpse banging the side.
That would be embarrassing. That would be bad footage. Do you still use the footage in a final movie?
I will agree with you. Yes, you could do it, and yes, it's less impressive. But nobody else that does what he does in acting has the balls to do it.
No one else is doing it.
That's why.
He's the Drunky the Bear of acting.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you want to hug me? Oh my God, I think Tom's going to hug me. I got my first hug. Oh,
that was a great moment.
Wow, that's a big moment.
I'm
all of that to get
here.
me to say that.
Yeah, that's true.
But I agree with you. Yes, because no one else has the balls to do that.
Also, with the work that he's done in his face is
looking a little weird.
The wind whips it weird, and then it's Cruise, it's whipping your face.
It's like
weird.
John Goodman.
That's what you're hoping for the CG to come back in and fix that too.
It's been whipping it weird.
It's like bat wings flapping in a high speed tunnel.
What else, Chris? What do we got?
Those are the only movies I've seen lately in theaters. But coming up, we have a lot of interesting, cool stuff. I got over here just next week. Both Final Destination is back, and I saw that trailer in front of Sinners, and it's a fun trailer.
Guilty pleasure for the Final Destination.
Those are fun movies.
Yeah, they're real dumb.
Yeah,
and fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Death's gonna come for all. We cheated death, and it's coming for us now. It's so silly.
And now it's Bloodline. So obviously, it's the kids of these people.
Yes. I love a good bowling ball through a windshield.
That's exactly what it is. And the trailer, it gives you right away, lets you know how the movie is gonna work. It's this whole backyard party scene, and all these little things that are set up that are gonna go bad, and you're just sitting there, just watching a trailer, oh my God, how's this gonna go so poorly for everyone? It's very, very well done. It's also the guy who plays Death in these movies, Tony Todd. He's also the Candyman, original Candyman. He's passed away. This is like a posthumous release for him. He shot this right before he died. He looks like, they show him in the trailer, the unfortunate man looks like he is dying. He is emaciated, and it's kind of a bummer, actually.
I bet while they're filming this, if you're the director, you're filming this, you're probably, it's like a little bit of, you're like, oh man, this is going to look so great, but man, does he look bad.
Yes.
But boy, this is going to be scary.
Wow,
right?
Death looks like he's dying. Yeah.
I think you're conflicted.
I think so.
Because they're like, Tony, you need to eat your Ensure. And I don't want to. And you're like, yeah, don't let him eat it. He looks better.
Just sneak the Pedialyte in his bottle
he
there.
looks better emaciated.
He looks better.
This has nothing to do with the movie, but it's kind of adjacent to Final Destination. Did you see the video of the guy that almost got hit by the crane but narrowly escaped death?
Yeah,
Like,
in China, right?
That reminded me of Final Destination.
That is some Final Destination stuff.
He's just out there smoking a cigarette, and all of a sudden, the rope or
he notices something
the
first.
line from the crane started falling on. He's like, "What?" And then he literally ducked as this. I mean, tons of a huge
200-foot long ton.
He would have red mist his head.
Yes.
Oh, man.
I mean, instant death, and like he escaped it by a fraction of a second,
crazy.
and you're like, "Wow, that's a final." Final Destination's coming for you because you escaped death.
I like to think
that's a whole thing, right?
Every night when I go to bed, I like to think I had at least one of those that I didn't know about.
Everybody does. Everybody.
You walk around the corner of a building, and then a piano drops right where you were from being lifted up.
I've almost stepped out into traffic, and like a car's like.
You've done it with me going to public.
And then I was like, wow, like one step.
That was it. That could have been it. That is wild stuff.
But so how many Final Destinations have there been?
This might be 6 or 7.
I think it's 7. I tried to look this up before you got here.
Yeah, and it's weird because they don't just one of them was like the Final Destination.
So I looked it up, and they're all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, then you got to.
They Fast and Furious those titles a long time ago.
They'll do like an Origins, and they'll do like
exactly.
like Shadows.
Just 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep it simple.
Assassin's Creed does that. I'm like, stop. Just give me the one. Just give me a number.
And also, I want you to name the first movie 1. Rocky 1. How come they didn't call that 1? When
also, you can have whatever you want to call it. You can call it Final Destination Shadows. That's fine, but you have to put in parentheses 5.
Slap a number on there.
Just for me.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I need to know the number of what this is.
This for Wikipedia purposes.
Here's another thing that drives me crazy, too, and this guy's the king of this. He'll get on the BDM page and be like, what order am I supposed to watch these in? The order they were made is how it's, right?
Yeah.
When did we get into this thing of going backwards?
Of chopping up orders?
Yeah, stop that.
The
Just
order
do
they
them
were
in
made.
order.
Yes.
Well, if one's a prequel, I want to see that one first. So what else is out there you want to see?
Also coming out next weekend, same weekend, there's this movie called Hurry Up Tomorrow. It's an indie film, and it's, I think, Jenna Ortega and Bean Bill.
Harriet Tub Morrow?
It's Harriet Tubman sequel. Excuse me, Hurry Up Tomorrow.
Hurry Up Tomorrow.
It's
I thought you said Harriet Tomorrow.
Harriet Tomorrow.
So it's a digital Harriet Tubman.
Yeah. It's like Max Headroom, but with Harriet Tubman.
Gotcha.
It's Hurry Up Tomorrow. It's an all full, mouthful of a title.
Is this a coming of age?
It's a pop, I think, sort of a pop star thriller in a way. The lead is formerly known as The Weeknd, Abel Tesfaye. That's how he's being billed as.
Okay.
Jenna Ortega.
Oh, is he no longer The Weeknd?
I think he's dropping that persona in its entirety.
Oh God, we haven't talked to Ross in a minute.
Does he know? I'm sure he knows about this.
Yeah, I'm positive he knows.
What's his real name again?
Abel Tesfaye. Tesfaye.
I would have gone with The Weeknd.
The Weeknd is on what?
Abel Tesfaye.
Yeah, that's why he went by The Weeknd.
Abel Tesfaye. Abe Tesfaye.
Just call him Abe. But it's a wild-looking, crazy, like almost psychological thriller. It looks like very over the top, and like it's not going to be a big commercial hit. But it looks very interesting. I'm for sure looking for it. It's kind of like counter programming to all the mainstream stuff that's coming out. And then the week after that is aforementioned Mission Impossible on the IMAX screens. I think this is Memorial Day weekend, as a matter of fact. It's that and the Lilo and Stitch live action remake, which despite all the other the cartoon turned to live action remakes, I think they're all pretty mediocre to bad so far for the most part.
Nothing is going to beat the porno.
Sonic is good.
Yeah, nobody's going to meet
that's a video game.
They made a porno called Lilo and Couple Extra Stitches. That it's a MILF. It's a MILF.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. I think the marketing for this one's actually pretty good. All the Stitch stuff looks really funny.
Yeah.
And then also the actual marketing for it in terms of they have.
Did they do them right by keeping it? Are they still a Polynesian family?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
It's, all that setting is kept the same.
So they didn't change any of that to make people mad because they love to do that. Right?
Yeah. No. They kept it all.
Okay.
It seems pretty quote true or whatever. However you want to put it to the animated one. And now and there's a sequence in the movie where they're driving around in like a Power Wheels car, for a kid, right?
Yeah.
And Stitch is driving around like a madman. So now they have out there for marketing, like people are going around with these little pink Power Wheels with a Stitch puppet in there that they're driving around, and it's like a very good puppet. Its head is moving and it's blinking, and that's just been doing that for promotion out there. There's TikTok videos that I think it's pretty good, pretty effective stuff. It looks very, very cute, very fun. I like I did like the animated one. I don't love it, but I like it.
People are happy about this. The chat room is talking about this one out of all the movies.
Yeah.
I think the live-action Lilo and Stitch is getting the most amount of attention,
it
really.
could be good. It could be good.
I don't think my sons know Lilo and Stitch.
Maisie doesn't.
It's
No?
like outside. It was pre their time when they were kids.
Because it's like 2000.
So many of my adult friends that are younger than me watch this as like a young adult or even growing up.
Or maybe in high school.
And they love it. They put it up there with like the Goofy movie and stuff like that. I'm too old for any of this.
It
Like,
could be the same age bracket as the Goofy movie.
This is too old for me.
There's no nostalgia there.
No, I got nothing
But
with
then
Lilo and
I
Stitch.
was just at Epcot like a month ago. Remember when it was on fire like a month ago? I was there that day, and there's a ton of Lilo and Stitch stuff.
Did you set Epcot on fire?
I think I did. I used the bathroom at the French
What was on
bakery.
fire?
The French bakery caught on fire. The all the way in the back of the park.
Ratatouille is out of the game.
Like the walk-in fridge or freezer, like something sparked in there, and then as we were walking out of the park, we turn around. There's a huge black plume of smoke.
Oh, they chose a pope.
No, it was a black one, so they were still doing the selection
right.
process. And then I looked online as we were leaving, and right away on Reddit and TikTok, you can find your answers for this immediately. They had to evacuate the French bakery, the Ratatouille ride that was adjacent to it, and it was some fire in a walk-in fridge. It was crazy stuff.
Yeah.
My God.
That was wild. But there's a ton of Lilo and Stitch merch everywhere. We were shocked at how much it's like everywhere, and like people must love it if they're gonna overproduce that kind of stuff for them. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the nostalgia and like I know Samantha was really excited about this when it just got released. Like the announcement.
Yeah.
She was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
I'm
like a
all
couple
in."
years ago. Yeah, when they announced
I
that
know
shit.
when a lot of people that like are a little bit younger than me, maybe more your age, but like I'd say like 35 to 40.
Yeah.
Like are really, really, really into this.
Sure, that makes sense. And Stitches, I mean, it's tricky to take something that's animated, a design like that, and then try to do it live action. It could be like, oh, you actually made a little monster. That's terrifying to look at, and it translates very well. I think Stitch is super cute in the trailers and adorable, and it's like, so yeah, I'd play with this little creepy alien thing.
Yeah,
It's
he's
awesome.
an alien, right?
He's an alien.
Okay.
But people think he's like a weird blue dog or something.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the look there.
That's the part of Lilo and Stitch I never figured out is like this thing is pretending to be a dog.
Yeah.
It doesn't resemble a dog at all. And no one around is quite like, whoa!
I mean, around here, somebody kill it. Like somebody will shoot it.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
what they do to
What the
weird-looking
hell?
animals.
Yeah, that's true.
Tom showed me a video
Children
one
beat
time.
it to death with sticks.
There's no other dog
One of the
looks like
first
it.
times Tom and I met, he showed me a video of some Chilean kids. There were 4 of them, and they saw a hairless sloth, and they proceeded
and they beat it to death.
They beat it. You've seen it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
And
about.
they beat it to death because it just looks different than them. And you taught me a very valuable lesson that day that when you see an animal that looks weird, you kill it. Everybody knows
Or
that.
the biggest of all animals, you're like, oh, that's
It's the biggest. Yeah.
You
You
kill
kill
the
the
biggest.
fish, you shoot it right in the head, right in the water.
The biggest bear, and then you're like, oh, you're like, I got the biggest. Now there's no more.
Now there's no big. I killed big.
Exactly. So it can be on my wall.
Like,
Now
oh,
there's
man.
only small.
Like, oh, this thing was the
But you
biggest.
don't even put it on your wall. You just leave it there. You just leave it there and it dies. And you're like, now there's no more big, only small, and I killed
And I
it.
can thank you. You're welcome.
Now I'm going home to play video games.
I am a hero.
Have you been watching The Last of Us, Chris?
Yeah, I'm caught up on The Last
all
of
right.
Us, yeah.
So, this may include some spoilers in this next section where I rant about The Last of Us. So I just want to warn everybody, if you are not caught up on The Last of Us,
This is a new segment Tom calls,
Yeah.
You've ruined The Last of Us.
I just want to let
You've
everybody
seen
know.
The Last of Me.
And I'm not.
That's good.
And I'm not saying anything that's major here.
Major.
You know, I'm not spoiling anything too crazy. I'm
Okay, EJ says he's not caught up. So EJ, leave.
I'm not,
Just leave.
EJ loves spoilers. I'm not gonna do a major spoiler. Just little tiny things that I find frustrating in the movie.
Sure.
But then it's kind of like almost
Like her tattoo.
bad
You
writing.
think she'd sit for that tattoo? I don't think she'd sit for that tattoo. It's a pretty detailed tattoo.
That's a lot. Yeah,
That's
it's a
a
big-
lot of tattooing.
Also, I have grown to feel bad for the actress that plays Ellie.
Why?
Bella Ramsey.
Bella Ramsey.
She's super talented.
Yeah. No.
She'll be just fine.
Yeah, no, I know, but I the reason why I feel
you mean
bad,
because of all the hate?
Yeah, because
she takes some heat.
of the heat on the internet.
Sure.
And then this
Well,
kind
the
of
internet's such a cool place. That's weird.
Yeah, it is a fun, nice place.
Yeah.
It's a very, very, very nice.
Yeah,
place.
weird.
And then I put myself in her shoes, and I'm like, well, there's no way she sees all this.
You know what?
Like,
I
or
would
seeks it
pay
out, because
$1,000 to see you in her shoes with the same hair and the beanie and the whole nine. In fact, if you do it for Halloween, 1,000K.
Yeah, draw,
1K.
draw a
1K
tattoo on
it.
your arm.
let's just say the lady I watched the show with started questioning, what is it I don't like about this person? I can't put my finger on it. There's something off-putting about the way she looks. Right?
Wait a minute, are you talking about me? I've said this.
No. Anyway, I don't want to call my wife out. Anyway, so then, and I'm like, it's kind of, what is that? What is that? And I made some jokes, and it's horrible to say. And the only reason I'm saying it now is because there's no chance that she hears it. And
the lady.
I'd never say, the lady
you
Bella
live with.
Ramsey.
Oh, Bella.
Because she's too famous. But she can see the memes that are out there, because that could somehow get in her algorithm or get presented on her social media.
Yeah. I know that people think I'm disgustingly short.
And I saw a meme now that I can't get out of my head, and the meme is, instead of her face, it's Buzz Lightyear. And now I can't see her without seeing Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz Ramsey.
So now you see Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
So now when you watch a show, it's Buzz.
No. She has
you have a condition.
Lightyear type face.
You have Lightyear's disease. I'm sorry, it can't be. It can't be unaltered. Yeah.
So
I'm sorry. How long am I going to have this?
Now
condition?
here's the writing
You'll
part.
have it till infinity and beyond.
And I feel bad. And then
I'm sorry. Thank you, Dr. Woody. I'll be in my office if you need me.
the spoiler spoiler alert.
Here's a spoiler.
They're wandering through a city that's swarming with an army, right? Here's Seattle.
It's
right?
a bad scene.
There's a militia,
And then,
it's a bad scene.
Yeah. And then not only is
A lot
there
of tough hombres out there. A lot of bad hombres.
not only is there an army that is in the city that they are they're out to kill.
They're ready to go.
So they're armed. There are mushroom zombies just crawling everywhere that you've had multiple encounters with.
Infected everywhere.
That some of them have
the spores.
unbelievable ability to hear because they've been blinded by the mushroom or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
take away my sight, you just better hearing.
Yeah.
So
Daredevil.
they're wandering around, and there's this romantic part going on, and then they wander to a music store, and they're like, "Oh, drum set! I'm just going to start."
I thought the same thing. Like, why are you making all this noise?
Hey, Boom, lay down a beat.
They're the mushrooms.
Yeah, that's a crazy thought process.
Hey, you know what? Let's start a band. Hey, guys, let's start a band.
Could you do that in the game? Is that a mini game where you walk up to the drum kit and start playing
That's
it?
what I did.
It's a rhythm game inside The Last of Us.
I do that when I'm wandering through Guitar Center on a Saturday.
And I ask you not to.
Not at the
We're
end.
just buying cables for the studio.
Yeah. It's
Not
like,
at
hold on.
Into the world where there's an army
We got
and
Neil-
mushroom zombies.
Parrot over here.
So then, after you said zombies, you run, you're escaping, you fall into a train of corpses, you're crawling through the corpses or whatever, then you start blasting your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah, right there on the floor. On the dirty
She
floor.
let you blast it. You've
I'll tell you right now, if I roll through a train full of corpses, there's no way in hell my wife's letting me blast.
Just not really in the mood at that point.
Not
Right?
happening.
I have that's tiny wet wipe scene or something show in your gear bag. You're like, I'm gonna wet wipe these corpses.
Hold on, let me put a glove on. Hold on, let me use a corpse hand.
Let's put down a towel or something.
Then I find out that Daniel tells me he's not even part of the video game.
Well, the part about they did change the part where it's like,
I'm a dad.
I'm a daddy. That's
I'm
not
a
a
daddy.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, she gets mad as hell.
Yeah.
Like, you are now a liability. You are now dragging me down. Like, that is not, you changed the whole thing.
Interesting.
You changed the whole, I'm a daddy. That's not a thing.
Wow.
It's not a thing.
Say it
It wasn't a thing.
right after the corpse blasting.
Yeah. Another thing my wife would not let me
You'd
do.
be like, oh.
Even if my wife did let me blast, there's no way in hell I could turn to her and go like, I'm a daddy now. Like, no.
Now I'm a daddy. daddy.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm like, you jumped the shark a little bit last
Putting you
time.
off a
You
little bit.
blasted the shark.
Well, just say, like, I want my end of the world zombie movies to be a little more realistic in the way the actors would
Blast.
actually
Yeah, more realistic blasting, please.
behave in this kind of
This
scenario.
CGI blasting is just killing movies.
Yeah, I want practical blasting
Yeah.
only.
It brings
What happened to
me.
your good stunt blasters?
And Chris, you
Used to be, I have a career as a stunt blaster.
it takes you out a little bit, feeling the way they would feel in that scenario, which is
if you
what
don't
you want as a
if you don't
movie.
identify with, because then yeah, sure.
You're way too calm and way too confident, and you're like, we're gonna get them all, just for me and this other girl.
I feel like that kind of.
when I get done blasting here, I'm going to get them all.
When you describe it like that, it feels like that kind of character behavior may fit in a zombie land, aforementioned zombie land, right?
Can I make a counterpoint?
Yes,
Yeah, it's about tone.
Because
and
now,
a tonal consistency.
Can I make
is
a
what you're missing
counterpoint?
here.
Maybe if I were allowed to blast more, I'd be more apt to take on the world.
Well, fair.
Fair? Is that a fair point?
Yeah.
Maybe the drought of blasting has gotten me into a point where I'm weak. That's why I'm so weak.
You got a nice dopamine dump, and then
Yeah.
you're ready to go kill some clickers.
I mean, maybe that's all you need. A little blast and
Get some serotonin
let's
going.
go take on the army, right?
Yes.
I wouldn't know. I've never had it.
That's true. And until there is a zombie outbreak, and we get to blasting in some music stores, we won't know actually how we would.
The chat room
act in this
100% says if there's anyone on the show that would be playing a drum set at the end of the world, it would be Tom Van. Christine said you would 100% because he's a decent drummer. Here's the thing you don't know.
Oh, drums!
He's actually not a bad drummer.
He's got some
Yeah,
rhythm.
he actually does. He can play drums.
That's funny.
He used to play drums better than a guy that was supposed to play drums for us.
I'd also be blasting way early. I'd been back at the fort.
Yeah. F the drums. I'm blasting the whole time. I don't even need to
You're
play
going to walk
drums.
500 miles just to do some blasting.
All right, let's get out of
All
here.
right. Chris, thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Anything to plug?
Cinema Chris Pediso.
Yeah, a couple plugs. Patreon.com/Crespediso for my show. We're in the middle of Daniel May Lewis. Talk about the films of Daniel Day-Lewis. Gangs of New
hilarious.
York. There Will Be Blood. Stuff like that.
Nice.
And then Who's the Baddie? Please check that out. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts. You can subscribe on Spotify. We have Jim Colbert coming up in a couple weeks. He brought No Country for Old Men with him. So here we go.
Oh, my God.
Listen-
Some
listen
country
for
for that old man. Yeah.
That's in a couple Wednesdays.
That's awesome.
I've abandoned my boy.
Exactly.
That is
yeah.
such a good movie.
That's a
Oh,
fun
my
one.
God, that's a good movie.
I'm like, I wish that was my dad. I'm the only one that thought that.
No one has ever said that.
This guy, he's a real man.
This guy's tough. He's tough. All right. Guys, we will see you in a minute.
Welcome to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch and YouTube right now, and you can join us. Just search for @Tom and Dan Live. It's very exciting within our studios because it is Fringe Week here in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, I love having fringe guests in studio because I feel like they're all world travelers that travel around that know.
I love international weirdos.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, and I mean
That's
that with
pretty much
love.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Oh.
you guys are, and we do have a guest, and we're going to get to him here in a second. But yeah, like it is Fringe time right now. So thousands of performers, hundreds are descending. Well, thousands of people, hundreds of performers, maybe even thousands, are descending upon Orlando, Florida. And I was told that it is the oldest North American Fringe festival. That's what we were looking for the other day.
Okay.
Remember, we were trying to figure out why is this one so specific or like and so well known. You've got Edinburgh, obviously that's the big one, but ours is the oldest in North America, and we're very proud of it. And let's celebrate some French.
Yeah, from his show Live Forever, we got Paco Earhart in here. How you doing, Paco?
Good. How are you? Guten Tag.
Yeah, guten-
if you
Moin
want some
Moin.
German.
Is that
Moin.
it?
Dude, you're good.
Moin
I love
Moin.
that.
Yeah.
That is where my family lives.
That
That's
area?
all the way up in the north.
My German teacher was the one that taught me that a very casual, you're the expert here, a very casual German, like in the morning when you're coming in or doing whatever, and he'd see us all, and he'd go like, moin moin.
Yeah, well, that is the north. Like most people that know Germany know the south, like Bavaria and Lederhosen. In the like 89% of Germans laugh at Lederhosen. The rest are Bavarians.
That's okay, all right.
And all in the north is fishermen and stuff like that. And they're moin moin. Although to be honest, if you're proper northern German, it's normally just moin because moin is already pretty chatty.
Okay. Oh, and I'm a chatter. So okay, understood. Thank you for the tip. I'll take one off then.
So, Paco, tell us about the show, and also tell us about hitchhiking out of Germany and becoming world traveling.
Yeah, I guess you decided one day, I want to tell stories professionally at French festivals, which is wild, and I'm just going to hitchhike out of Germany.
Yeah, that was a bit of a weird mix. Now, first, I hitchhiked out of Germany because I wanted to be Jack Kerouac. That was hugely influential on me, but at the time, I wanted to be a writer. I just wanted a crazy life and, do lots of semi-legal things and
experience the world.
Experience people. Just like when you go out there, always traveling. I always say like it's like you get questions answered that you never asked. You see stuff like, oh, that's part of the world. I had no idea, and that is just totally just broadens everything.
It's been. I don't think I've ever stopped the show to that was perfectly said. You get answers to questions you were never going to ask. I love that.
Yeah. And it's just
you're a drunk, sir. No, I'm kidding.
You're not wrong, sir.
Yeah, it is crazy when and now you see it a lot more on the internet, where it's like, I have opinion on how the world should be. Like, you haven't left the county you live in in 20 years.
Incidentally, the world should work like the county does, because everywhere else they do it wrong.
Yeah.
So what age do you decide? Okay, I'm heading out. Like what age are we at now? At when you decide?
Like this is actually pretty late. I think it was 27. So I struggled because I come from a family. My dad was a banker. My great grandfather was something big. So it was. I felt supported, but my family had no idea what the thing was that I wanted to do. So I was kind of like the crazy one.
Were you an artist, though? Did you play music?
I wanted to be an artist, but I was still, at the time, I was still just, doing stuff in Berlin, studying, which we do, quite a little bit longer.
Americans
than
don't
here.
study.
Absolutely
hate it.
But
I got a smartphone.
Yeah. We're Americans. We know everything. We don't need to study.
It tells me everything I want to know.
Well, hey, but it's free, so,
That is true.
That is true.
We just borrow money and get mad that we have to pay it back. You should give it to me for free now. Or
no, well, dude, I had to pay for university. Like every semester, I had to pay like $60, and for that, I got a bus pass for the entire city for the entire semester. University is not free,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wanted to write it. I just want to have a crazy life and write about it. Then it turned out writing is pretty lonely. I ended up being broke and in slight trouble in Valencia, and saw an ad. This was being.
There's a community college around here called Valencia, so we're gonna have to clarify.
I wasn't there. No, okay, this is a city in Spain.
Yeah, thank you. I was gonna say that, but I just wanted because a lot of confused dum-dums driving down I-4 right now. They're like, hey, we're stranded at community college here locally.
that's where I go.
It's a great school. Great school.
Yeah, I hear they one of the subjects is hitchhiking.
Yeah.
We're joking. Not a good.
Yeah. Go to beach camp.
We make fun of you if you go there. I'm joking.
So I became a hotel entertainer for a season, which just does basically crazy, weird shows for very uneducated British people. And I realized I really love being on stage. And then I thought, oh man, I was an exchange student when I was 17.
So you
North
learned
Carolina.
to perform in front, was that your first gig at the hotel?
Yeah, and in front of the roughest people you can imagine who are trained to hate Germans. So they kind of loved me because I was like, oh, German with a sense of humor?
Okay.
This is impossible.
What is this?
Exactly. And so...
He's a unicorn.
So I'd lived in North Carolina for a year when I was 17, and I watched stand-up religiously at night on TV. And so then, in that hotel thing, I thought, oh man, I could just combine the writing and the performing. I could do that stand-up thing that I've been thinking about for like decades now.
Yeah.
and yeah, somehow one thing came to another, and Spain then moved to London, where it all started. So it's too long a story for a radio show.
Yeah, but is London a hard place to cut your teeth if you want to start writing and performing on stage, or is it a good place, would you say?
London was good for me because before that, like the audiences I had in Spain were, like I said, just not very smart people, and the kind of some stuff I'm interested in that has to do with some form of knowledge.
You have a base here.
Yeah, some base. Like I can go down below, but at some point I don't know anymore. So London is actually, you can find any kind of audience. Your comedy will find its audience, and of course it's British, so it's a little bit different. And again,
dry.
And as a German, it's both good and like, of course, the stereotype we don't have a sense of humor, with so a great selling point in a way. Like
the British sense of humor is so highly specific too. Do you think a German coming to England to perform stand-up and then weave his way into storytelling and fringe would be easier than an American going to London and doing the same thing?
I don't know, actually. I think you'd adapt. It's a bit. I do find there's one thing. I think in Britain, comedians like to play what it's in people's heads. I think there's more of a common common knowledge you can assume, that you can hint at. Like, you know what I mean? And everybody goes, yeah, I do. And here they go,
well, it's not insulting
I really
your audience.
don't.
Yeah, you don't have to beat them over the head with it. They already know.
Yeah, here I think, like, because it's a free country, you can know whatever you want, and nobody expects you to know something else. So there's no consensus. So you can't expect as much as there, I think.
Yeah.
And I think comedy here is fantastic. It challenges you in a different way. I don't want to knock it at all. That's why I'm here. I love it. Love it here. Yeah. But I think that is the difference. Here you have to, because people want to know stuff. Like, I think lots of people are. I've had people saying, like, dude, we're stupid. I didn't learn all this stuff in school. Like, I heard nothing about the world. So it's not anybody's fault if you never learn it. So you just have to put a little bit more in your setups, in the jokes, a little bit more,
little more work,
seedings, a little bit more, stuff that people might not know. And
that's such a good answer. I appreciate that. Normally,
was that diplomatic enough?
No, it wasn't diplomatic at all. I think it actually showed kind of your process. I like that, because most people don't want to pull that curtain back a little bit and say like, hey, this audience is different. So in order to make this, in order to execute this perfectly, I need to do a little more work.
Oh, yeah. And I think I've seen like TV comedians from Britain go to Australia and not even think about adapting their material. We all know how people from Birmingham are. It's like, no, we don't. Why would we?
Right.
And so, but that's always, like, I lived in Italy, I lived in Spain, I lived in the UK, I lived in the USA, like adapting and finding out how people roll. It has been my thing, and I find it fascinating.
Do you have a favorite place that you lived out of the ones you mentioned? Or?
I think like my favorite city in the world, for some reason, Melbourne, Australia. Just love it. I just Have
you tried Melbourne, Florida?
I hear
like Australia.
I hear it's the same.
Same amount of criminals. Both started as criminal areas we would dump our criminals, I believe.
Paco.
It seems like with Valencia and Melbourne, like here in Florida, you go like, let's take a really great city and create a total dump here, and we call it the same. No offense to those places I've never been.
Not take it.
Help me figure out, and you may already know the answer. And I've been talking about this for years on the show, that I went to Germany back in 2007, and pre-internet, or pre-social media and stuff. And then we're at a bar. Me and
Didn't you go to Oktoberfest?
My newlywed wife.
Weren't you at an
we did, but we did some tours.
And there were some little boys on the.
We went to a local bar, and then they were playing "Take Me Home, Country Road" techno version, and the whole bar was going crazy. And then they found out I was American.
Yeah.
Like we were like a local bar.
You were the king of the song.
And they're like, "Have you ever been to West Virginia?" And I'm like, "It stinks." I was trying to tell them. They're like, "No, take me." And then I remember I got back to America, and I was telling all my friends, I'm like, "They love "Take Me Home, Country Road."
This is before we all saw it in the NFL.
They're like, "No."
And this is already like my growing up, my mom or dad had the record, like the original, like, without the techno, obviously. Somehow really big.
Was it the John Denver? The John Denver,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
But it's so funny because West Virginia is like cold country, right?
My
so
wife's...
it'd be like saying like take me home to Gelsenkirchen.
Yeah, it's
no hillbillies
there. It's a pretty dismal and sad place, you know. Like, yeah, it could be a sad place.
So fast forward, and there's an NFL game in Germany, and the whole stadium they start playing "Take Me Home," and they're going crazy.
So much, so loud.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It was actually a cool
you were
moment.
there?
That's
No,
no, I wish I was
on
there, but
TV.
on TV you could see it, and it was just so loud. The people and the amount of love in their eyes.
I was telling my friends, I'm like, see, they love it.
They love it.
This is our favorite American song.
Yeah.
So why that?
Well,
song?
after David Hasselhoff, obviously.
Yeah.
No, we prefer the David Hasselhoff version of Country Roads.
Did he do it?
We listen to nothing else. No, I hope not.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Is he still big there, or that was just a flash in
No,
the pan?
I think it was a flash.
Yeah.
Like it's like I got teased with that a lot, but it was mainly had this song. I've been looking for freedom, which he released just around the time that the wall came down. So that was the connection, like freedom and that.
Write that
songs.
down. Write
And
that down. Whenever they bring a wall down, you and I need to write a song.
Hell yeah!
So, Paco, I want to ask you a more deep question.
Well, before that, let's just plug his venue and everything, too.
Yeah.
Get your button. First of all, you got to have a Fringe button if you want to go see Paco.
Yeah.
Second of all, I believe he's at the Silver venue.
That's right.
Yes,
And,
the show's called Live Forever.
Live Forever. Get your tickets right now. They're very reasonably priced at orlandofringe.org.
First show, May 15th, correct?
go.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's so that is. Let's see, on Thursday at 8:15, I believe.
There you go.
So, Paco, I feel like I'm attracted to how we evolved as humans, and then I look back at a lot of people say you should eat like how we evolved to eat, and and do what because that's what our bodies want to do in our brains and stuff, and that makes sense to me. More than anything, it's just like I'm like, all right, evolution science is like that, and another thing that I hear recently is like we should walk more because ancient humans used to walk all the time, right? And then, but we also used to just travel around a lot more, instead of like we're stay in the one place we grew up in. And you have done this, and then you move around. And I've often thought about like if I had unlimited money. It's funny because you don't need unlimited money, but that's that's your excuse.
A lot of our Fringe buddies do exactly what he's doing, and they seem to be very normal people.
And I could see the allure to moving from place to place and just keep moving around and living different lives and reality, But then I'm like meeting different people. Then I'm like, how long do you stay before the allure of moving hits you again? And then you're ever like, you know what? I'm tired of moving to a different place. I'm always
the sweet spot.
Yeah. So it's like,
is there a sweet spot for like knowing, okay, you're in Italy, you moved from Germany to Italy, you're very much enjoying Italy, and then one day, boom, pops into your brain, and you're like, I got to go to Spain again. Like, is that how it works? Or?
Well, I think at the time I just wanted to travel as much as possible, and then eventually traveling because of my job, because of comedy, became the thing, and then you kind of go to where the festivals are, and right now was, in a place where I felt like, okay, I want to get out of all, that much touring. That's why I live in New York now. Because it feels like that is for comedy, that is perfect. I can still travel around. And I think it's different for everybody. Some people just want to stay in the place that they're in. But I don't know. It's, I guess for me, it was always a difference between where do I feel good and where's the career. But for a long time, this is like a traveling circus. There's lots of touring performers who will then go to all the festivals that I go to. So my friends and my family are kind of at those festivals, so I see those people again.
Yeah, the Fringe community is cool in that a lot of your legacy Fringe performers will know each other, and that is...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, the bond that Fringe performers get is almost like one that if I'd have known about Fringe when I decided to perform, I may have gone that route, because I think you guys get the best family surrounding you with the least amount, I don't know, I'm not in the world, but pettiness and bitterness, that's an entertainment. That's just going to be there. But the Fringe people seem a lot more like craft beer guys, in that you guys are all supportive of each other. Like, all my brewer friends.
When you're making your own money, there's no company above you saying, this person's good.
It goes directly to you.
True. I mean, in other, in Australia and Britain, it's way more of the comedy industry is very much like an Edinburgh Fringe and whatever. So but that also means, here, that's kind of when I'm trying to get out of fringes, because I know I'm pretty good at what I do, but here, like, the comedy industry does not look at fringe festivals. There is their own ecosystem, so it's good and bad. Yeah, I think it's very supportive, but also, how far do you go from
right?
there?
It can be stifling if that's the only thing in those areas. Well, and it goes back to your conversation about where's the sweet spot of when you want to move.
Yeah, and if what was like the walking more? Is
I was just about like.
He likes to throw a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter to his question.
No, I totally agree with them. We should walk more. We should only eat what we hunt and bang our cousins and get killed by mammoths.
That's exactly what I meant.
Like, I'm wondering if our human brains want to just be in different places and continue to move and like.
This is his argument for not wanting to be married to his wife anymore.
No, that is very interesting. I think it was an old conflict between nomads and what was it, sedentary? No, what do you call it? Like people who stay,
live in a society.
Some people who just farm or whatever often didn't trust the people who moved all the time. So I think in human history there was some conflict between these because they are two very different lifestyles, and I think nowadays we can all pick the lifestyle we want. So that's pretty cool.
100%. And do you think you maybe are born with the nomadic heritage somewhere deep in your DNA to like force you? Because some people, like, I make the jokes about, like, I'm enamored with guests that come in here that have traveled the world and they constantly have seen so much, and like, but to live that life they're sacrificed.
Oh yeah,
you can't have everything. No.
Well,
so I like it, but I'm like, man, am I cut out to do that? Like, so
more than me you are.
Yeah. Only one way to find out, man. Like,
it's a spectrum, right? It'll be a spectrum like anything else.
I mean, but you got to try it. Because for me, like growing up, I was born in Munich, but we moved every 3 years due to my dad's job. So I was already used to moving all the time. So it's great. I think it's allowed me to make friends with people more quickly. It showed me different regions of Germany, and I go like, you think you're normal? You're nuts. Like, to realize wherever you go, America, Italy, we're all not normal. We're just differently nuts. To realize that, I think is big, and we all need that more. At the same time, I don't have any friends from kindergarten. I know people who have those deep roots and who are just really deep connections that they love. So they go, I don't really want to go anywhere because I love these people and whatever, and that is totally fair. And I think it's a little bit also how you're socialized. I'm not sure it's in your genes, maybe.
Well, I've already built myself a prison, Paco, with a family and a mortgage, so I'm not getting out now.
Just get a motorhome and get going.
Yeah, you thought about that. You were going to go down that path for a minute.
No, I know. But again, you romanticize it, but it's a difficult life. Like, there's a lot of hardship, and
you're totally right.
So it's not so as romantic as it sounds. Like going from place to place. Like, I'm sure it's lonely too sometimes.
Yeah, like I don't like. I just don't ever shut up, so I tend to meet people.
You're performing.
That's
true.
But you're right. I think everything has its trade-offs, and you just have to find vibes with your personality. So this really works for me. But also, I feel now I can New York. I would love to stay there. I do like it a lot, but I will want to travel as well. But now I have a place to come back to where the career can be and a city I love, and I can keep going to places and come back. I think for me, that's my personal sweet spot.
Do you have any place you haven't wanted to go, or like
I haven't wanted to
go? That you were gonna go and you're like, oh, I don't know. Or
I think in most places, mostly politicians suck and people are pretty cool.
Yep.
Once you talk to them and get to know them, and I mean, sometimes my brother, who's definitely more conservative than me, not nowadays crazy conservative, but more conservative. And sometimes we talk about social issues, and he'll start with something where I go like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I'll have a view that he goes like, are you out of your mind? Then we talk about what we actually mean, and suddenly say, oh, if that's how you put, of course, obviously, and we end up really close to each other. I always find that very interesting that we're not actually that far apart, that just the way we weight things, how we start out tends to sound like it's further apart, and I think we all need that a little bit more. I think I'm just totally lost track now.
I understand what you're saying. You're giving it some air.
Again, like people in politics, whatever. I think it's that's what we don't talk to each other anymore, and so there's no place I wouldn't want to go. I think often
I love that.
Often the people, the places people don't want to go. The people there, like Iran, Uzbekistan, once you go, they go like, "Oh my God, you're coming
Everyone's
here!
so nice.
Thank you for coming here.
Thank you for coming here. Like
we wanted you guys to come here. It's our
please come
government
for
that
dinner.
sucks.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Every world
100%.
traveler we've always talked to, and me and Daniel say this all the time, they're like people that have hitchhiked up South America, they were all around the world, they all say the same thing is like everybody's nice.
Yeah.
They're no one like they're obviously
that is true.
Like everybody's hospitable, everybody's nice, they want to be nice.
We've run into
Humans
this-
are nice. That's their overwhelming majority mentality.
A lot of our frienders are doing that. Like you guys come to town and you tell us these stories. There's very few negative stories.
You see the small percentage of horrible things on the internet and skews your perception of what the world is even is.
Exactly. I've heard people like, I want to go to Europe, but I'm afraid I'll get robbed all the time. What are you talking about? That just doesn't happen unless you. I mean, a friend of mine's mother went to Boca in Buenos Aires in Argentina, and which is like a rough area that has some beautifully painted houses. That's why they take tourists there. So she went into those neighborhoods wearing a fur coat and a Rolex. Like, dude, you deserve to get mugged.
But even then, that's the anomaly.
Exactly.
That no one ever says that.
But that is ultimately the anomalies obviously make the news because if you like, you won't see the headline, Muslim man seen being nice to daughter, eats ice cream.
Not a story.
Like, that's not a story because it happens all the time. Because these people or those people like normally just have lives and are nice to each other. But when something really crazy and awful happens, then it is out of the ordinary. So it's in.
Oh, make sure you amplify it and scare everybody.
But that too. Some make real money with that. But also it is simply some people think, well, it's in the news, so that must be how the world is. And I think that is generally one thing. Like, go out there, try. I think every person should be forced to live in another country for at least a year. Like, I think we'd have way fewer wars. I mean, if you draw North Korea in the lottery, bad luck. But
you know what? I've been watching. They just recently let some YouTubers there under the guise that they were going to run the North Korean marathon or something, right? And they let like 75 different YouTubers in there, and I've been following some of these and watching their behind the scenes. I told Andrea, I would love to go there in a freaking heartbeat. That's the craziest looking place and Andrea's like, it would feel so unsafe, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe it feels maximum safe to me because you're like locked into some weird zone.
Kind of.
They know exactly where I am.
But it's so different that I like experiencing things that are so outside.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're just like, whoa. I mean, even I just recently went to New York, and then you go to Times Square in New York, and then you're from, even Orlando's a small town comparatively.
Yeah, you said it blew your mind.
And then you're just like, wow. Like, and then you start thinking, you're like, the people in this city who live this reality for 50 years are talking to people on the internet that live out in the country with an entirely different reality. And they're arguing, and then it's like, okay, well, their realities are different. Of course, you live in New York, and you live in St. Cloud, Florida. Like, your entire perspective is different. And then you're never meant to talk to each other. You know what I'm saying?
We made that.
Or if at least you talk to each other, explaining, well, this is how it works here. If you're like in good faith, or like exchange, like,
if you met him in person,
or
then
went there and saw the good things about it, you get like, that's often like traveling to other countries, like different mentalities. At first you think that's crazy that, people say like they're weird, but once you go there, you go like, and their system of meaning and their core values, it totally makes sense because this and that, you start understanding how it all makes sense. And they in there again think, well, our system of meaning is the only normal one and everybody else is crazy. And so you actually have to go there, understand how it's all connected. And everywhere, some things are stupid and wrong and should be changed, but that we all have that in all cultures.
But it's so much work, Paco. I have to leave my house. I buy
it's
a
just easier to be ignorant and complain on the internet.
And self-righteousness feels awesome.
It feels so good. Just bathing in it.
I give 2 thoughts and prayers a day, and that's good. I'm a hero. I might as well.
Yeah.
So, but real quick before we go, Paco, kind of describe the show. show, Live Forever?
Oh, right. So normally, like, I'm a stand-up comedian. That's what I do. I love people making people laugh. Now, this one here, last year, I actually had to cancel my Orlando Fringe run because 2 days before my first show, my dad passed away in Germany. He had dementia for a long time, so it was better for him. But still, now I'm back and I'm kind of telling the story a little bit. So this time, it is some really irreverent stand up with lots more swearing than now, and so that's what I love. Kind of go where it hurts. Yeah, so it is really good sound, but mixed with that story of like getting to know my dad as dementia starts taking his mind away. So it's heartwarming and it's funny and and it's I try to draw my lessons out of like how do we live while we're alive? Like how do you live your life as a big screw you to death? Like how do you just live? And so that is what I'm trying to draw out of this. So it may make some people cry a little bit, but in a good way. But then the next you're gonna be crying tears of laughter because that's super important to me. I'm still a stand-up. I couldn't do a show where you don't have to laugh all the time.
Do you find that you address your saddest moments like the dad thing? Because my dad is gone. My mom and dad are gone. And I do the same thing where if I didn't have the humor or the comedy to help me process it, I don't know, man. I think it's very important. Did you use that? Was that part of your process in like writing the show and to help you get over?
I think so. I think it's just generally in me. Like, I think that's also the comedy that interests me. Like, we want to laugh at the dark stuff in life to get over it. I think that's really human to laugh at that. That is the most human thing you can do. Just laugh at silly things. Cool. Like I enjoy that too sometimes, but I think it's just my natural my instinct. And so in this show, that instinct just fully entered into it because the subject matter just needed that.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Paco, thanks so much for coming by.
Thank
we
you for
really
being
appreciate
here.
it.
It's been a lot of fun.
We appreciate you.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Again, the Silver Venue, OrlandoFringe.org. The show is Live Forever.
Get your button before you get your tickets.
I think it's called Paco Erhard Live Forever. So if you look for it in the program, it may start with a P.
Yeah, I believe you are correct because I think I was looking for it and put his name in. Put Paco in and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's not that many German Pacos.
Put in German Paco.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah,
you'll see it.
You'll be all good. All right, we will be right back.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time. So to continue with some Fringe guests, because it is Fringe Week.
Fringe 2025.
And again, just go to orlandofringe.org, get the button. All the proceeds go directly to the artist. And
I like stressing that because it's
unique in the entertainment industry.
Well, yeah, and as a patron, like you show up there and you buy your button, and then when you buy your ticket for whatever the price, so typically it's like $15 or something. You're not breaking the bank. All of that money goes directly to the person that you are getting to see pour their heart out on stage with some sort of tale of, personal accomplishment, or it could just be something ridiculous, but it all goes to them, which like Tom said, that's very, very weird. We've never had anything like that.
Yeah.
I would always get paid from some company and they're like, do more, you more.
We have Josh Ritter and Myra in. Myra's the director of Adventures in Baby Hitting, your guys' show that's going to be at the Starlight Room. And again, orlandofringe.org.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Thanks for being here, guys.
Great. This is really exciting.
So exciting.
Really thrilled to be here. This is our first Fringe ever.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
So we went from our buddy Paco, who is like a lifelong Fringer, and then now we have some new Fringers, and that's the coolest thing about Fringe festivals to me is that there really is... you get everybody.
By the way, right before this, Myra and Paco were literally talking German for like 5 minutes straight. And I was watching. I was like, "Wow,
it's because
German
Fringe festival guests, by and large, and I'm just going to say my stereotype. I live by stereotypes. I know you're not supposed to, but Fringe people have higher IQs. I said what I said.
I thought you were going to say we're weird.
No, you are.
Well,
but
better
Fringe
culture.
people have higher. No, I bet you if you just go through them all, like they have typically typically higher IQs than most of your other performers.
I am not going to argue with that.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, you know,
Talking
like
about me.
fringe performers, you know, Daddy Longneck and Mike Busey.
The one that was speaking German. So tell us about the show, Adventures and Baby Hitting.
Yeah,
okay, that sounds like something you're not allowed to do. Let's dig in.
Technically, that's true. No, it's basically the basics of the show are that I have identical twins who have severe special needs. They're 13 now.
Okay.
And so, and I'm also a professional actor. So I've worked on a lot of sets, a lot of movies, commercials, TV shows, stuff like that. During the time raising the boys, I'm going through the struggles of this while working. And so the storyline is essentially, it's mostly storytelling. There's a lot of jokes, a lot of funny, but it's also a lot of weight to it. And so it's my experiences with the boys and combining that with my experiences on set and working with celebrities and stuff like that. And then, you know, towards the end, it all really comes together in a nice way. So,
I love that.
So
I watched you. Did you do an Orange Theory commercial or any one? I saw that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's right.
You have a memorable face too. I think I saw your Florida Lottery. I'm like, I know that guy.
That's right, Florida Lottery. Look
he
at that.
He freezes himself. I think he's playing that guy that you love, the guy that's trying to freeze his body, and then shoot himself up with his son's stem cells. That whack up on that guy.
Not that part.
But you kind of have the hair. In the thing. They made him look like that guy. Oh, it's good.
That's so funny.
Let's talk about having a special needs child, because in my experience, I hear a lot of the same story in which the person ends up appreciating their special need child so much that they were like, I'm glad they were special needs because it taught me so much about myself, and I feel like my life would have been worse without it, which sounds counter intuitive to people that don't have special needs kids, where like that you end up in
I don't know
oh my
if
god,
we
I
can
feel
understand,
bad.
right?
Yeah,
I don't know if we can even wrap our brain
how
around
could
that.
you without that experience? But have you felt that?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because there's obviously different levels, right?
Now, it is really funny if you go, absolutely not, Tom. I have found that
That's the dumbest question I've ever
Tom,
heard.
I found that my special needs, raising these two special needs twins, I found that I have learned nothing from them. And it's actually quite a drag.
That's actually closer to the truth. No, I have learned. I mean, that's all true. All the good stuff is true.
Yeah.
The difference, though, is that when levels of severity, my kids have severe needs on a lot of different levels, and it's not enjoyable. It's not rewarding, and that's part of it. And this is part of. I do have an advantage in this sense because parents, parents, they don't like to say negative things about their kids, obviously. But
I love doing that.
Oh, my God.
It's my favorite joke.
You guys make a living off of it. That's
we kind of do, and it's not real. Let's be honest.
No.
We're effing around.
Oh, it's not real.
But that's the thing. I can be pretty honest about it because my kids are probably never going to hear about it. And
sure, I understand.
And people in my situation will get it. And this is one of the reasons I brought Myra in for directing. She's been helping me develop this show for about a year and a half now. Nice. She has some experience with that too in her family. So I have the opportunity to talk about this stuff without worrying about being judged because and people might judge me. That's fine, but I'm not worried about it affecting my kids.
Right,
so I can be honest about the experience. And in some ways it is rewarding. There's a lot to that.
It's got to be freeing, too, to be able to talk about it honestly.
Exactly.
Instead of having to address it with only the good things or only the things that might make you look like a good dad.
Right.
Yes. I know that we have a listener that has a daughter who has a severe disability. And I've noticed that when she shares on our BDM page, which are our most coveted listeners, like our guys that there are guys that listen to every show, that it's a very realistic and no different than any child. It's just like the same way you talk about any child, which is why you get maybe a dose of what isn't going to be all roses and grapes.
Right.
Sometimes there's some negativity there because, all children are the same. They're all the same, disability or not.
I prefer to be offended by what you're saying because even though I have no reference, I don't even have kids. I'm just offended by your reality.
How dare you?
And then I'll make a post on the internet about how you're talking.
Cancel this guy.
Did you think about that when you guys are fleshing out this thing, right? You have to sit down. You're picking what you want to tell. You're picking how you want to tell it.
Yeah.
What are the landmines? What do you look for? Or how do you do it in a way where you're not... Because you want to be respectful, but you also
Yes.
want to be funny, and sometimes the two don't mix very well.
That's true. Yeah, and we'll see how that goes.
Well, yeah,
It is the first show.
but I like that. That's exciting, man, and
Well,
that's ballsy.
it is. It's scary. It's terrifying in a way, but it's also really exciting. And this is one of the reasons, with
and it's
with Myra.
true. That's what I like the most. It's so honest. You're talking
it's
about
totally,
your boys.
It's totally raw. And Myra's a great. She's a great perspective for this because she lives up in Harlem. I live in South Florida.
Okay.
She's never even met my kids, but we've known each other for 25 years or something.
Just weird
So-
because I'm only 27.
I know, which is so bizarre.
Well done,
So
Myra.
since she was 2. So anyway, I rely what you're describing. I actually rely quite heavily on her to help me draw that line.
I think we try to avoid the landmines because there are so many by focusing the story on his role as a caregiver versus trying to do a story that is about the boys and not trying to represent their life, but really represent his life and his experience as a caregiver. And that's the focus. And I think if we stay in that realm, we're really safe.
Yeah,
Or-
no, I would agree with that
See.
because how can you like going in there and trying to write from
No.
their perspective would be
No.
like you're not in there.
No.
And I was doing a little of that, and she was like, she'd pull me back from that. She'd be
Yeah.
like, "This isn't about
Get
that."
out of there.
Yeah, interesting. No, that's really honest, guys. I like that.
You know what must be insanely difficult to navigate is, I made a joke about it earlier about being offended by your reality. Like people get like that.
Yeah.
Where if you're telling the truth about your reality and your experience with your sons, and you make a joke about it, poke fun about it, which is totally normal in your reality, which is
Not even normal. I think I almost feel like it's necessary.
It's necessary.
It's hard for people to take some. I feel
Yeah,
like, and
it is.
because then they're like, I don't know, trained is the right word, but like your first reaction is to be like, oh, you shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Even about your own son.
right.
Yeah.
And that's what's fun. The show's provocative in a lot of those ways. But as Myra would keep reminding me,
The
it's
name is awesome. I just want to go back to that for a second. I know I made a joke about it at the beginning,
No,
but
but
I
it
mean,
is.
it's a ballsy, awesome name, and I
Yeah.
love it.
Well, it's that obviously like we'll get the reference from the movie.
Sure.
If you're old enough.
If
Yeah,
you're old
yeah.
enough, she's too young. But if you're old enough, you get the reference from the movie, which is part of it because I talk about working on movies, and you'll find I don't want to give away too much, but you'll find there's a few reasons why it's called that.
Yeah.
Cool. I love it.
And
Dishes are done, dude.
It's iconic.
He's shooting him with a shotgun. The most disturbing part is he's using a shotgun in the middle of a suburban neighborhood, and no one's calling the cops. He shot it like 10 times.
Has
And
anyone
everyone's
here been on-
it's just my neighbor's kid shooting a shotgun off his roof.
Have you been on Nextdoor? You can't do anything without anyone posting.
Yeah.
it's a cop. Does anybody know what's going on? It's like, no, it's just a cop, man. I don't know what's going on.
You can hear a shotgun from like 10 miles away. Like the entire neighborhood, they would call the cops immediately. Anyway, sorry.
That's hilarious.
What was the process like even coming up with this concept?
Well, I started writing like funny stories and essays about because the experiences are so bizarre. I mean, they're identical twins, and they have totally different challenges. So the whole time I was the main caregiver. The experiences are just so weird, and at some point I was like, I should really tell these stories because I think they're funny. And Myra's also a writer, and so she's giving me feedback on the essays I was writing, and that kind of developed into the show. Yeah. And I think the first draft could have been like 4 hours long. I mean, it's so much material.
Yeah.
And you really helped sort of hew down. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's focus on that. Trying to get a cohesive because I was just buried in stories.
Just
I
like
had
too
no
much.
perspective,
Yeah. Too
none.
much.
But I wanted to be funny.
Yeah.
I want it to be funny. It has to be funny. I do some stand-up. It's not really a stand-up show, but if it's not funny, then nobody would see it.
Yeah.
But there are some weighty moments in it.
Yeah, well, I think there probably should be, or why even try to attempt to
it
tell
would be
the story.
dishonest not to have them.
Yeah, what's the hardest, like, when you're doing this from a first-time fringe person's perspective? Is it scary to go through, like, the lottery process or trying to get in? What's that like? What's it like trying to, like, even navigate the fringe world? Because did you think at all, like, oh, maybe I'll do something stand-up with this? Or did you go, immediately, I'm doing fringe?
No, I started writing stand-up versions, and I sent her the videos.
Yeah. And you were doing 10-minute versions.
Right.
Just testing out material. We didn't even think about, and one day just went, you know what, we should try to I think we got it. I think we have a really good
Right.
core story. And then you won the Perkoff Prize for the essay. And we
Yeah.
thought, this is
Yeah, let's
good
talk.
stuff.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
tell us about the Perkoff Prize and winning that.
Again, she was instrumental in this. I wrote this
really
essay
am.
called Falling Down, and it was essentially, it was like a prose version of what the show is. And it was telling stories about being on set and working with the kids and dealing with all this stuff. And Myra was like my editor, my writing guru. And she's like, you should submit it to the Perkoff Prize. And of course, me being the literary type, had never heard of it. And she's like, you never heard of the No, submit it. They're doing this thing. And so I submitted it, and it was a finalist. And it got published in the Missouri Review, which I also had never heard of.
Yeah.
But she was like, the Missouri Review.
It's the Missouri
Yeah,
Review.
they
So
review things in
Her
Missouri.
feedback was instrumental in that process. And so when we figured out, I think this is the show, we'll just make it more fun.
Yeah.
Because it's not a funny essay. But
But something clicked about you being an actor, the absurdity of being an actor
Right.
on set with Matthew McConaughey, and then going home and having to deal with being a primary caregiver to twins. It's such a good story, but also it contained so many layers that I think really spoke to a lot of different kinds of readers.
So it's like you
and
found your
editors.
voice in the
Yeah.
essay.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's exactly it. I found the voice
Tom,
in the essay.
and I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. He was what were you, runner-up in the Jerk-Off Prize. He won that one. Top five finalist.
I knew it was
for the
swore up
Jerk-Off.
your-
He won the Jerk-Off.
I was thinking, they give out prizes for writing?
He doesn't believe in any of that. He's like, trophies is for sports.
And only for number one, not for anything less.
You get a trophy for running fast, not writing fast.
So I'm curious to twin boys, and that you said they both have different, challenges, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
and is it completely different, or is it just the difference
can-
that you could tell because they're
No,
not?
I can tell you that they're both severely autistic, but that presents in different ways.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
one
yeah.
of them will have panic attacks, and the other one doesn't talk. Like stuff like that. One of them has cerebral palsy. That's affected his physical abilities. They also have other stuff, OCD and ODD, and a whole bunch of stuff. So their personalities are complete opposite, which you hear a lot with identicals.
Right.
Yeah.
But also their
My
presentation
dad
is
and his
completely
brother were
opposite.
identical.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were mirror image. So, my
Oh,
dad
yeah.
was the left part. His brother was the right side part, right hand, left hand.
Yeah.
Everything was switched. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's weird.
I've seen that
And they were
before, yeah.
exactly as you were describing. They are two completely different men that just look exactly alike, but they are not the same person.
So bizarre, right?
Yeah, it is. And growing up with it, I kind of identify with a little bit of what you're saying of how you used a term that I think some people would say is hurtful, and I'm here to say, no, he's right. You said weird. It is weird.
It is.
Yeah.
To have two people that look identical and they do not act like they're not even in the same realm, not even the
Right.
same moral compass, nothing. They're just
Opposite
they're just
personalities.
opposite humans.
Well, then you're just like, oh, you're just born the way you are. There's no nurture. The nurture's
We
got
solved
to
the
be
debate.
bad.
We finally solved the debate.
Yeah, this makes it so bad.
the nerd. My sons, even though they're not twins, but 14 months apart, are completely different personalities. Grew up in the same house. I'm like, it's like, and so it's just fascinating. And I'm sure with, having sons that are autistic, and just seeing how they like you said, they both present in different ways, and you would think it'd be somewhat similar.
Yeah.
Maybe it is, and then you just can tell it more than I could meeting
Yeah.
them. But it just offers so many other challenges because it would be a lot easier if they're both exactly the same. Because
Yeah.
you can handle it exactly.
That's true. It's
but-
like I used to take them to the park when they were like 3 or 4, and then I'd be changing one's diaper and the other one just takes off. It's stuff like that. And I was like, the one just wanted to lay there and the other one wanted to take off and jump in the lake. And I'm like, no. So I'm like running with his butt hanging out and stuff hanging down. Like, stop.
Yeah.
It's
That's not the way it works. It's going to be different.
One of the things is the biggest thing we wanted to bring out, like you said, the absurdity. Because the stories, the experiences, they're so bizarre. They're just so bizarre. And I think parents will relate to it, but it's like on steroids.
I hear you.
And then how many different shows are there going to be?
Well, we have the press preview right after this, and then we have 4 shows. So Friday, Sunday, and then next Saturday, Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then we go to
Good
Fort
slots.
Myers for the Fort Myers Fringe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We're going to be
So
veterans at
how
that
many
point.
how many
Yeah.
of these are you going to try to hit? Is this going to be like a thing
Well,
for you?
this was all I was able to get for this year, but we're gonna see how this goes. I think by the time we do I don't know 8-9 performances, whatever. It's hopefully going to have a life of its own.
Yeah.
And I'll keep bringing it places.
That's exciting too, and it's also exciting that Fringe people sometimes they'll take like a thing that they write and perform it, and then like maybe shelve it and write a new one, and then
Yeah.
bring that one back out, and like I like that. It's
Yeah.
this could be the start of something wild, man.
This is brand new for us, this whole Fringe thing. But I got to say, the people. It's like you were saying earlier. They're amazing.
they're so
Amazing.
nice.
It's so supportive. Like the
Yeah.
artists want to support each other.
It's
Like,
not everybody's cup of tea, and what I mean by that is like you get so many crazy different shows that there will be something for everybody.
Yeah.
But then some people are like, well, that's not for me. Well, that's fine because there are 1,000 other things for you to see.
Yeah.
But you get like some of the most truly unique, true artists that I've ever met are from our Fringe like guests that come in here, like world traveled people. Super famous people, like we met a guy that was like a clown. He was like literally the most famous clown you would ever meet, but no one would ever know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he's just
wow.
a Fringe
Yeah.
guy, but like, oh yeah, I was Ringling Brothers, and I've done that, and I've taught all these people,
Amazing.
and now he just does Fringe. You know, like I don't know,
That's so
Fringe
cool.
is I don't know. We gravitate to it because we're weirdos, and I think a lot of
No.
Fringe people are weird, and I like that. I'm very proud of that.
I was just thinking I should start a Fringe show just so I could be ultra competitive and unsupportive. Like, how many tickets? Oh God, I'm made you jealous.
well, that's how you stand out at Fringe. You become a jerk.
But that would be your show, and it would
the
crush.
one
People would
jerk.
love it.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
could call it the One Fringe Jerk, and it would sell out. Oh, are you going to see the One Fringe Jerk tonight? Oh, he does all crowd work. He goes crazy. He rips on how much he hates the other shows. That would actually
hype
work.
man.
That would actually work.
That would also. that'd be
Josh, Myra, thank you
Yeah,
so much.
thank you guys for
so
being
much
here.
for having
Appreciate
us.
you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Get your button, get your tickets to see the show, and guys, we will be right back.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time. So Welcome to Rockville is this weekend in Daytona.
And did you know, I didn't know that when Rockville was becoming like a thing, that this is like literally like the largest, to me, it is like the largest rock and roll event that I think we even have in the Central Florida area. And we are very, very lucky that our buddy Bill set up the opportunity for us to talk to. I mean, this is a person that, like, unlike an astronaut, you know, plenty of people have landed on the moon. Not many people have songs that everybody knows the words to and can sing every single word.
Art Alexakis from Everclear is on the line. How you doing, Art?
I'm doing okay. It's pronounced Alexakis. Thank
Alex
you. Thank you for that nice intro. That's pretty cool.
Well,
Sorry,
I mean,
Art.
if you can't stick the landing, then what does the intro
I
even
knew
mean?
I
right?
blew it, Art.
Yeah.
I looked at it. I knew. Oh, God.
You know, if you're a 4'10" girl, you would have stuck the landing.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Hey, man, thanks so much for the time. Hey, you have played so many shows, and you continue to still do it. What is the driving force, and where did you get the energy to still go out and do it at the highest level? I mean, we're celebrating the Sparkle and Fade 30th anniversary. I mean, yeah, how do you get back out there and do it? Do you still love it as much as you always have?
Well, that's a lot of questions. Let's start with that one first.
Sure.
I love playing as much, or if not more, than I ever have. I'm so grateful that I'm 63 years old. I've got multiple sclerosis, and I get to go out and play rock and roll every night for a living. And and more people are coming out, younger people that weren't even born when those songs were on the radio, man. And, yeah, so I'm super grateful for that. The travel is hard. The travel is harder than it used to be, than in my 30s and 40s, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But what inspires me? It's what I do. It's what we do as a band. This is what we've done as our whole adult lives. So that's what we do. And when people want to give you money to come do what you love to do, that's a no-brainer. If you can physically do it, right?
Yeah.
So, but you know, I'm also, like I said, I got MS, and you know, there's no pension for old musicians. There's no old music home where I'm going to go and live. You know, so I got to work. We all got to work, but we love doing what we do. And to be honest with you, doing all the travel, which is hard for me physically, is good for me. Adversity is good. The people who get chronic diseases, like I have, all sorts of chronic diseases, and we talk about it in groups all the time. The ones that stop moving are the ones that die quick and get to a place where they can't move anymore. So it's basically, you got to keep moving, man.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I just had my hip replaced, and like I'm 48, and I have learned to not take for granted any moving, because that month that I spent just not moving at all, I can completely identify with what you're saying. It's like I can see the challenges of looking at MS. I have some people in my family that have MS, and it's like you can either look at that as some sort of a death sentence, or you can continue to just keep doing what you do and do what you love, and that truly will keep you alive. Yeah, I that's a wonderful answer, man.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, because it had a lot of points to it in the question. So
yeah. Well, we got excited, and just being honest with you, we did not want to get your last.
I was being honest.
Yeah, we didn't want to get your last. Yeah, we didn't want to get your last name wrong,
and we did it.
It bummed us out. We're still on it. I'm still bummed out. Yeah, I'm still bummed out about it.
You guys do realize you're the only people ever in my life that have gone.
I know.
I couldn't even get it out. Let's crack it up. I couldn't even get it out of my mouth.
That's hilarious.
Get in line with about 1 million other people. But as long as they keep buying tickets and keep singing my words with me, I mean, that's the ultimate honor, right? Because I go out there every night, and if there's 1,000 people or 5,000, or these shows are going to be huge.
Yeah, they're
There's
huge.
going to be a lot of people singing Santa Monica and Father of Mine with me, and that's always. It never goes unappreciated, ever.
So,
ever.
Art, let's talk about Father of Mine. Obviously, I mean, just such a gigantic song. And I've always wanted to ask you this, and other artists that have gone through let's say a horrible experience or a rough childhood like you did, and then had inspiration for a hit song that you turned it into art that the whole world enjoyed. So do you think to yourself, all right, well, if this never happened, this song wouldn't exist, so therefore I should appreciate this happening because it led to the song? Or do you tell yourself, I would have came up with a different popular song if I didn't need to go through this? Right, so, right. How do you look at it?
See, you guys in that question, and it's not a bad question, but you're assuming that if I had an idyllic childhood growing up, that I would be still an angry guy writing lyrics, playing in a punk/rock and roll band. That's probably not the case.
Yeah.
Who knows what I would have been if I'd have grown up with a family, that looked like it was off a TV show. Who knows? Because most kids, all they want to do is just be loved and accepted and cared for, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And taught. And one of the things, are either or both of you guys dads?
Yeah, we both are. Yeah.
Okay. So, part of your job is all of that. To be a caretaker, to be a provider, and to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And above it all, unconditionally love. And that's hard to do when you have teenagers. I don't know if you guys have teenagers.
Not
hard
yet.
to do.
Not yet, but
almost.
I hear tell. Yes.
Yeah, but Art, what if I left now? Maybe they'd become rock stars. You see what I'm saying?
No.
Maybe that trauma would drive them to do something extraordinary. I'm joking.
Yeah, but then they would burn you in effigy.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I don't resent my dad. My dad was damaged goods as well. He got shipped away when he was younger, and he had a hard life. He just a lot of people can. There's not that many people who can break the cycle, right?
Yeah.
And I come from a long line of men who, for one reason or another, didn't raise their children, and I broke that cycle. Some cycles I didn't break, and I've learned from that. But that cycle I broke, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without sobriety, without support from my sober sober fellowship.
Sure.
And just my higher power, who I affectionately call God.
Yeah, and that's
You know?
is that fairly recent? Like I know that
No.
through reading some a little bit. Like I thought you were an atheist, but when did you find Christianity?
Oh, dude, I've always been a Christian.
Oh, right.
No, the song you're referring to is a song called "Why I Don't Believe in God," and that was a song written about me when I was 8 years old, and my mom had a nervous breakdown because my brother was in and out of jail and juvenile hall.
Yeah.
My sisters were pregnant. You know, we're living in a housing project. You know, drug deals going on. People getting shot next door. You know, my mom put herself into Central General Hospital downtown L.A. And really all she needed was a rest. You know?
Right.
She needed to get away from us. You know, and she came back 2 weeks later and just refused to take our crap anymore, and everything was fine. But for a little boy, for an 8-year-old boy, that's a hard time. So looking back on that, that's why I named it that. Because I never didn't believe in God. I just didn't believe in all the BS that came with and hypocritical stuff that came with religion.
Yeah,
and
I can understand that.
I still don't. I consider myself a Christian, but I don't believe in what most Christians in this country believe, except for the fact that I believe in God. I believe in a higher power.
Sure.
And I believe that to be Christ-like, to live like Christ, is a good thing to be.
Yeah, it's selfless for sure. Yeah.
So that's where I've never been an atheist.
Oh, well, we cleared that up. I'm glad
I was pissed off at God. That's what it was. I was angry at God.
Yeah, I kind of got like that when my mom and dad passed away. I got a little...
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I understand.
It's not that you didn't believe in it, that there was a higher power that tied us all together. It's just you were angry.
Yeah.
And you were hurt and grieving. And when I got sober, I finally surrendered to the fact that I was helpless to alcohol. I was powerless to it. And drugs and just about anything that you can get addicted to, you name it, man.
Yeah.
It's like Marlon Brando in that movie, in a movie back in the 50s. They're like, what are you rebelling against? He goes, what do you got?
Yeah. Give me
I'll do anything.
Yeah, I'll do all of them, yeah.
So,
what are you addicted to? What do you got?
Yeah.
So speaking of that, I'm going to ask you, I mean, it's probably a dumb question, but I asked Yakov Smirnoff the same question because...
The Russian... Yeah, we love Yakov. He's a fan of the show.
So in Everclear as a band, did the actual alcohol brand Everclear ever contact you guys and want you to do any work promoting?
This is a true story. I have no documentation, but I swear to God. So when we were an indie band and starting to make noise nationally, I get a call at home from this woman. Goes, would you hold for Mr. Welsh at the and names the name of the distillery? And is this the gentleman that has the rock and roll band by the name Everclear? I go, yes. And he goes, will you hold for Mr. Blah, blah, blah. And this southern gentleman gets on and goes, good morning, sir. I just want to talk to you about you using the name of our business, our product. And I'm like, well, sir, he goes, and I swear to God, he goes, I just want to just make sure that you're not one of those bands that worship Satan. Swear to God. And I'm like, who is this, man?
That sounds like a prank phone call.
This is a prank. And I'm like, so where are you based, sir? And he's like, we're based in St. Louis, Missouri, and our distilleries are blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, this guy ain't messing around. I go, no, sir, absolutely not. I consider myself a Christian. My mom is from North Carolina growth, and I named the band Everclear because I even though I've been clean and sober for many, many years, because I am a recovering alcoholic, I was, there's nothing more intense or deceptive looking because it's it looks like water, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's pure spirit. And he's like, okay, well then we're not going to have a problem with it. Just don't. We'll give you a release to do whatever you want.
You start wandering into Satan, you're out of here.
Weird.
Yeah, if we get one whiff of Satan, you're done.
Well, I've been through 4 divorces, man. I've touched Satan's,
That's hilarious.
Come on, that tail. You don't want to touch that shiny red tail. Come on.
I'm touching it right now.
I gotta touch it. Art, thank you so much for the time. Sorry again about getting your last name wrong. Go see him in Rockville. Go see Everclear. I know I know some friends are coming to see you with Local H and I'm blanking on who else.
Sponge.
Yes, and Sponge on the bill. That's going to be killer.
Yeah, no, that's in the fall. That's our 30th anniversary tour because it's the 30th anniversary this year. Actually, on the 23rd of this month, Sparkle on Toad was released 30 years ago.
Wow.
So I'm in the middle of doing a remaster right now, and man, it's sounding so good. It's so much bigger and deeper than it sounded before, and just heavier, and just really stoked. But that's the 30th anniversary tour, so people can go to everclearmusic.com and look for tour dates.
There you go.
Well, Art, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, and we'll see you at Rockville, okay?
All right, boys.
Take care,
Thank
man.
you for your call.
All right.
Appreciate it.
I'm so mad at myself that I didn't look at an interview.
No, I'm mad at me. I did that as a joke too. I'm like, all right, you do it, and then I would have said the same way you said it though. Alexakis is what I was going to say.
It's Alexakis. Right?
Alexakis.
And all I needed to do was look up an interview and have the interviewer say his name.
Incorrect.
And then I would have. No.
I looked up an interview from Australia, and they said Alexakis.
Okay, all right, yes, I
thought I had it nailed.
Well, I know he made the joke. He's like, oh, they always get it wrong. But I'm like, yeah,
no,
but we could be more pro than this.
And we started the interview that way. And between that and the phone line, I was ready to go full Nugent. Is that they come in threes? They come in threes, right? T.J. Miller, Ted Nugent. Alexakis.
Anyway, that's funny that nowadays people send a cease and desist, lawyers get involved. It's like the owner of the distillery calls.
Back in the day, they were
like, you're the young man that has a band named Everclear. I want to know if you worship the devil or not.
Arthur Alexakis, please. I got a cease and desist one time.
Yeah, but just call the person up and see what he's about, and then you just work it out like that. And that's a better way.
Never work it out. First you start with passive aggressive barbs from either side, and then you meet in court.
But also you're allowed to name a band a product name, right? You just can't do a product like they couldn't.
Everclear. I don't know how he would have been able to lock down Everclear. I always thought that was a generic term.
If you're allowed to use the name, I thought. Yeah, this is a question for Mo. We'll ask him when he comes in.
Like, you couldn't call your band Miller Beer. I don't think you could do that.
You couldn't call it Miller Beer, but you can call it Miller, and you call it High Life. You can call your band High Life.
You could call it High Life.
You know what I'm saying?
You couldn't call it Miller High Life.
I think you probably you couldn't combine them, but you could use the name as long as it's not another alcohol product. It's similar. I think it's as long as it's totally different. I think then the name opens up again.
Is Charlie Daniels still alive? Can we get him on the show?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. I was sitting there, sorry. I was just making a list of people I want to get on the show now that are crazy.
What about R. Kelly's in jail? We can call him from jail?
I got my baby. Baby calling. Did you hear Tom and Dan? They talked to R. Kelly today. My God. We're like, be on the phone.
All right. We will see you in a minute.
It is another Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom. The Orlando Science Center has a new exhibit opening this weekend through September 7th about DC superheroes. So if your kids or yourself are into superheroes, it's going to be the science of superheroes. So check it out.
More adults, I see, are really into the superheroes. I think a lot of adults are going to want to go to this.
Yeah, because
especially DC. What's that? Batman, right? DC's Batman.
Batman, Superman, right?
Yeah, they're the classics.
Yeah.
You say what you will. DC, the Batman, Superman, those are the guys. None of that Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah,
with no Superman. And Batman's still one of my favorites. But yeah, that's cool, man. I'd love to check that out.
Let's do some Weird Job.
I'm going to be selfish and play my personal favorite Weird Job Wednesday theme song. Let's do it.
Fat slobs working jobs, big fat slobs working the jobs, slobs with jobs, slobby jobs, summer blobs with jobs disguised as slobs. Fat slobs working jobs, big fat slobs
Working their jobs, slobs with jobs, sloppy jobs, some with
blobs with jobs disguised as slobs.
We messed that part up.
Summer blobs with jobs disguised as slobs.
Some are blobs with jobs disguised as slobs. Welcome to Weird Job Wednesday, 10-year edition. Is it the 10-year edition? It feels like it. Jesus Christ. This thing, somebody put a bullet in it, right? Oh, my God. Somebody kill it. It's the unkillable bit, Weird Job Wednesday.
I've never gotten hate mail about Weird Job Wednesday.
No. In fact, we tried to kill it, and when I say I want to kill it, I'll get hate mail to me saying, you know what, we should kill you. Not that bit.
People still want us to bring back Bird Wednesday.
Yeah. They loved Bird Wednesday.
Did they love it?
Yeah. The only thing that burned hot and we couldn't get it to roll was Live Call Thursday.
Then
we tried every Thursday at 1 p.m. we would try to do Live Call Thursdays, and then for
the first couple of weeks it was good, and then it just started dying off.
Was it good? I don't know if it was
the first
good.
time we did it, but just like
maybe
Bird
it just
Wednesday.
felt good, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was good. I don't know what's good anymore.
On the line with us is Clark. How you doing, Clark?
Doing good, guys. How are you?
So, Clark, you're a tugboatman, correct?
That's correct.
All right. So we talked to Clark a little bit before about tugboats.
So we're doing, is this the second part of tugboat?
No, but it wasn't an official Weird Job.
Okay.
It was like tugboats.
So we're just going to do what we did before, but this time do it officially? All right. I like that. That's the laziest thing you've ever done, Tom. I like that.
Dick Clark knew.
You know what? So now we're just going to stop here, and then I'll just put the old tugboat where we talked after. Nobody will ever know.
Yeah.
That's what we should do.
So, Clark, tell us about tugboats.
All right. So I work on 200-ton boats. Towing stuff basically New Jersey to Florida, North Carolina, anywhere in between. We tow about 250,000 pounds at a time, and basically bring all kinds of bullshit oh my God, sorry.
You're okay. You're okay.
You blew it, Clark.
No one's ever going to hear this because we already did it. So, don't worry about it. Yeah. We're just doing this for Tom's addiction to tugboat people. I don't know why we're doing this, but we're
So, Clark, when you pull a boat, do you pull it, the boat behind you? Do you push it?
I think you can do either. I don't think it's specific.
Yes, we can. Yeah, there's barges, so basically there's these floating platforms, basically like the SpaceX thing they land on.
Yeah.
We drag those around, and they put a whole bunch of crap on it, whatever the hell it is, and we can tow it behind us. There are some that you attach, remember the old jet ski boat that you used to drive the jet ski inside the boat?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that.
So
why'd we get rid of the jet ski boat? Clark, I'm so glad you brought that up.
Because they realized that no one wants it.
No, I drove one, and it was so fun. As a kid, I drove one of those, and it was way too much horsepower for me as a little guy, and I would rip around one of these Orlando lakes on that thing, and it was fun as hell because it was big.
Yeah.
Oh, I had one. But it was amazing.
Yeah, and it was sizable, man. Jet skis are too small. This thing had size. You could take a passenger.
You could take your friend.
Yeah, you could take your friends around.
Yeah, but you take your friends on the boat part, and then you disengage, and you're like, all right, now I'm going to have fun. And then your friends are just floating on the boat part, and they're like, well, I want to have fun.
You drive a boat to an island and sit around and do nothing.
Yeah, let me drive.
So Clark, when you tow these barges or whatever, how you said sometimes you're going all the way down or up the East Coast?
Yeah, anywhere from all the way down to Miami, all the way up to New Jersey, New York, and everything.
And are you using the intercoastal the whole way?
No, we're going offshore.
Okay. So you go offshore. How far offshore? Is there just a little bit or what?
No, our farthest point offshore is 127 miles around average.
Okay, so you're going real offshore.
That's pretty offshore.
Yeah, if you're going from like down in Florida to Jersey, it's where Georgia's at, that little nip and tuck that cuts in. You get about 120 miles, 127 miles off.
So is that considered like the shipping lanes?
Yes. And so I'm in a tugboat, and, big boat, 200-foot boat, but I'm next to, like, basically cargo ships and stuff like that, so it's kind of funny.
Do you guys have little, like, jokes that you do, like, because they see you in the tugboat, and you see them, right? Do you guys, like, I don't know, if you, like, have any different hand signals, or do you do finger? Do you do finger in a circle, like, my boss is really getting me, or...
There's a lot of radio chatter, but it's nothing. We don't really mess with those guys because most of the cargo ship captains, they're not American, and they only need to know like 30 words or 30 some odd words to be an international captain.
I want that life. You only have to know 30 words. That's all I need to know.
Just American words. They know a lot of whatever words.
No, but I want. But that's the job I want. 30 words, and you're in.
So, Clark.
Oh, so good.
Tell us about the tugboat itself. How many rooms are there? How spacious is the galley? Like,
you ever made love to a beautiful woman in your tugboat?
Yes.
Hey! That's an awesome answer.
Dock bars and stuff like that. A lot of dives. You'll drag them back into the room. But there's 4 rooms that are actual rooms. There's 2 with double bunks, and then the 2 captain's quarters. So I get to sleep in the captain's quarters. Underneath, we have 2 bathrooms. So we got 1 down low and 1 in the midship, and then the captain's quarters up at the top. So it's probably 400 square foot on top. I think it's like a 900 or 800 square foot, and then somewhere around 650 down below.
How big is the tugboat's engine, and what makes a tugboat different than a normal vessel besides the amount of weight it could pull?
So what makes it different is we're steel. And then we put old, nasty tires all around our boat so that it doesn't touch the steel. The engines, I'm running 4,600 horsepower. So we've got 2 23s, and so we've got twin engines. So.
How much torque, or give the audience, or somebody like me that's not a boatman, I can see Tom's eyes light up. And even though I've been on ski boats all my life, this is a different kind of boat. Give me an idea to the average Joe of how much torque or power this thing has. What can it do that would be impressive?
I can move cruise ships.
Okay, there you go. That's all I needed to know. Yeah, there you go.
Real simple answer.
Yeah. Here, watch me move this giant cruise ship around with my big ass. That's cool, dude.
Is the propeller bigger?
That's a good question.
We have posi-pods, so my propeller is a little different, so I can change the angle and trajectory, and I have a 360-degree posi-pod. So I can basically drift my tugboat.
So you can go in any direction based on your
preference, whatever I want.
Wow.
Is it a single propeller?
2.
Okay, 2. So that allows you to.
Are they independent?
Yeah, they are independent, so I can push left and right and just throw a bunch of water out for no reason.
Well, that makes it way easier.
No, I think it's cool.
No, I'm saying, well, if I had that, I wouldn't be slamming into docks. I got one propeller.
You've been limited your time. Okay, I see what you're saying.
If I had the posi-pods.
I don't even know what that is. A posi-pod sounds awesome. Also sounds like some toy my daughter would like.
Dan, so basically, I can be going forward in a straight line, and I only have a drive gear. I don't have a reverse, but I change the pitch of the propellers.
Yeah.
And then I can go backwards with the same gear.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. That's really neat. So that gives you a lot of mobility, really, for such a big, powerful, little boat.
So, Clark, how does it work? You're pulling something the size of a cruise ship or a giant mega barge or something gigantic, right? So you're pulling it, and we all know physics.
Let's say you're pulling host of Nerd Jock, EJ, through the water.
And
dragging them on a banana boat.
Yeah, there you go.
and then say something happens in front of you, even far away, where you're like, oh, I have to stop.
Oh, good
and
question.
that gigantic cruise ship or whatever, the inertia it's going to take a long time to stop. Is there a tugboat in the back to stop it?
No, not for what I do. So your best course of action in something like that is to divert your path. You can always try and slow down, but when you're towing, like I said, something big or 300,000-pound tug or something like that, it's still going to keep moving. So you can whip it around like you would a skier when you're on the lake, and it'll tug you around, but you kind of just tug back and hope the ropes don't break.
I'm glad to know that my dumb idea I was going to ask you about was what you exactly said you were going to do. The old whip around like a skier. It was coming out of my mouth as you were saying it, and I'm like, please don't. Oh, he's saying it.
So Clark.
Sorry.
That's funny, man. Okay, so there is a little bit more of a like, we got to do something here than.
Oh yeah, one of my. I'll just, since it's kind of looped into it, how I got my nickname was my nickname's Crash on the radio.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, I was tugging. It was 2 a.m. Cloud covered night. Couldn't see S. And so we're just rolling a straight, and I've got autopilot on, not really paying attention per se. And this sailboat comes, or I see this object coming close on my Doppler, and it ends up being a sailboat that runs into me. And there's basically nothing I could do. There's either let him get caught onto the tug or what I was towing, or let him hit my boat. And I said, well, he's going to hit mine. So.
And you don't care because you got all those nasty tires on there, and then you just push him into the wall? You just crush him?
No, his whole front end cracked in half and split his hull. He wasn't taking water on, but we had to do a whole Coast Guard.
Would have been you and Lena and Crystal, all on the sailboat. You're going
not
along.
paying attention.
Yeah, and then you crash into a tugboat, Tom. Could have been you.
So,
I was on the horn and everything. This dude was asleep.
Oh, so they're just in there chilling, and you're like, well, I have to do what maritime law suggests. You're horning it, your lights. You're like, come on, you mother effer. And nothing's happening.
I went on the radio.
And you have to just let this sailboat break into your boat. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. No, there's certain rules, but I mean...
Do you stand out there, like, with a cigarette while it's crashing into your tires, and you're like, oh, God...
Yeah, I light up another pack.
Yeah. You just have to watch it happen?
Oh, yeah. No, it was hilarious. The dude came up and he was mad, too. So,
of course, you woke him up.
Clark, how much, like, bad storms and, like, rough seas can your tugboat take? Is it built to be sealed like one of those, you see the Coast Guard boats that can take
like,
any amount?
Okay.
No, well, I've been saying, like,
no.
how does that work?
Well, I mean, we're built to take on water. Biggest I've ever been through was 23 foot-ish, and 23 foot at like 10 seconds, so climbing a lot of mountains out there. But the biggest issue with that is you got to slow way down because all the stress on the ropes and what you're tugging, you could really pretty much hurt somebody pretty easily.
So, are you trained at a certain point, like, to cut the thing you're towing if things get too bad? But by doing that, you could create a huge disaster if that thing starts drifting off into, or
towards
like,
the daycare.
Or just runs aground. How easy is it for you to cut the thing you're towing?
There's a point to where if I have to do it, we can do it. But typically, what you try and do is just let more slack out and just keep yourself moderately tight on the tug so that there can be slack.
It sounds like you're fishing for big game. You know, like when guys are fishing for big fish and and it's like there's a little more dancing, like with letting a little out, and instead of just necessarily like just wrenching it, I got to wrench this guy in. Like, it's a dance. You got to dance with it a little bit here.
Yeah, it's like when the fish jumps out of the water, you always tip your rod
Which is
down so
not your strong suit. I mean, Tom not known for his finesse, like a little bit more of a let's just tug this thing home.
You can always muscle it. That's what I say. How many crew are with you?
6, so it's myself, another captain, and then 4 crew.
Any ladies or bananas?
Never. Oh, my God. The whole banana thing is wild to me, by the you know where that came from?
No. I do not.
Well, hold on.
Basically-
But I thought it was.
But Tom might know.
I thought
Yeah.
God made it for Kirk Cameron to eat a banana.
Well,
somebody Google that video so that they know my joke. Somebody Google that so they know my joke.
I thought it was like if you store, like you need fruit when you're, sailing long distances so you don't get scurvy or whatever. But bananas, if you store them with the other fruit, will rot the other fruit faster for whatever reason. Like, I don't know, whatever
science
the
answer.
banana off gases. I'm making this all up.
I like that.
I think
Hey, you
either
had
it's
me.
true, I heard, or I'm making it up.
You had me.
And
So
then,
that's half of it.
half right.
So what's
that's
the-
that's 100% to me.
When you're
It's,
50% of a person, then that's 100% right.
It was mainly so when those boats used to come over, it was all the spiders and insects that were coming over on the fruit and the bananas, and they just blamed it all on bananas. So.
That sounds a little racist to me.
So Clark, what's the worst thing that's happened as a tugboatman to you?
So we were tugging in some pretty rough weather, and we had a line snap, and ended up breaking a guy's forearm in half.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah,
That's real
that
bad.
Was, yeah, we had to. So we were still in the storm, and we had a line break, and we had a guy with a broken forearm, so we ended up having to get him off the boat onto a Coast Guard medical ship. So.
What kind of a break? I mean, you don't have to be gory, but what kind of break are we talking? Was it a gory break or?
You know Tom Segura's leg?
Oh no, I did watch that video. Yuck.
Okay, yeah.
That's
So
yuck.
it was both bones, and
Yeah,
When he mildly tried to dunk a basketball and he broke his leg and his arm. It's so embarrassing to him. I feel bad for him because I was like, man, you just tried to do
one whoopee doo.
Yeah, not even that extreme of a layup, and then your ankle breaks, and then your.
But the video's
break
bad.
arm. Yeah. And then do you have like emergency morphine on the ship and things like?
Do you have drugs you can take advantage of, like the sea captains on TV?
Yeah.
Tom and I are obsessed with, the Cornelia Marie. What are the other ones?
The dangerous catch, or deadliest catch.
We, about once a quarter, Tom and I will fantasize of owning a pink gold crab boat, and we're out there, we are pain pill crazy, and I'm yelling, I found pink gold! And he comes up, and we're high-fiving each other.
They were all on pain pills at one time.
Every single one on pain pills. Every single one on pain pills.
Yeah. How did
the dad
There
died.
was a more
the
ODs.
The dad on the Cornelia Marie, he died, and then the two sons were given the boat, and then I think they couldn't even do the boat because they were too whacked out. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, we do have medicine. I'm EMT trained, so I have to be for my license.
Oh, wow.
So I could administer.
That's why
I can
Tom
just
will
get you-
never be a tugboat captain, because he's not getting two licenses. One and done.
I could do it on
right.
YouTube now, the internet.
Chest compressions. Google chest compressions.
It'll tell me how to
Tom,
do
I'd love for you to Google chest compressions 120 miles offshore.
it. Well, I'll save it on my phone. I'll
He's
Google
got
it when we have internet.
Jokes on you, wise ass.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have a hotspot. We have a Sprint hotspot.
Starlink.
Do you guys have some sort of satellite internet?
We tried out the Starlink for a little bit. It's just for what we're doing. It's just not worth it. We're not offshore long enough. Like if I got a 3-day stint, I'm typically back inshore in 3 days.
And you can rent those too. Like if you really wanted to just luxury it for a minute, or if there were like some NFL programming you wanted to see, you could rent one like third party.
So you mentioned a rope snapping and breaking one of your crew members' arms, but I've seen some videos on TikTok of like cruise ship and like giant ship rope snapping and like anchor chains. And
Are you watching the beginning of Ghost Ship again?
Violent.
When the mooring lines chop everyone's head off.
I mean, one of these ropes recoils back after it snaps. It'll just cut you in half. It'll instantly kill you for sure. I mean, obviously,
Ghost Ship.
So when things like ropes get to a certain tension, does everybody just run because you're like, if this thing snaps, it could kill us all?
No, most of the time when things are getting to those points, most of the guys are on the deck trying to remedy that problem by releasing rope or pulling the clutch lever on the winches and stuff. So.
That's brave. I think I'd go inside to play Boulder's Gate for a second. I got to chill out for a second. I got to get some air.
So, Clark, how much, we're making jokes about the crab fishermen. Obviously, that's a dangerous job. This is less dangerous.
This sounds cooler. This sounds cooler.
Yeah.
Because this changes up a little bit
You're
more.
still on a tugboat for, could be, how long is like consider it like a long trip?
How long is a tour of tugging?
A tour of tugging. The longest I've done was 2 months.
Oh,
or 2.5
2 months tugging?
Yeah. During COVID were like my best years, honestly, because they used trains and us, and so we just moved a whole ton of.
You're fine.
Sorry.
You're fine. Don't even.
Whole bunch of lumber and stuff like that. So.
Do they have any bad names for you guys, like pecker pullers or something that they call tugboat captain? That you hate?
We're the crackheads of the sea.
Crackheads of the sea. I like that. I knew there was. I knew that's terrible, by the way. That's the worst one to get. I knew that was a great question.
You guys might like this. One of my favorite epidemics through tugging. You get guys.
You guys have a crack epidemic in tugboating? Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. So, when, like, the whole pain pill situation started dropping off?
Oh, I know about it. I was in it.
You couldn't get it anymore. So everybody kind of just went to meth and crack, and that was the people that came out on the boats. So.
Well, those of us that were professionals, we just turned more to booze than weed.
But also, it's better working fuel than the pain pills. The pain pills, you've fallen asleep in your goddamn footlong.
Oh, you think crack's a better? Crack is better?
Yeah. Amphetamines and crack, you stay up for days.
Okay. Working hard.
Yeah. You need something to do.
Have you ever smoked crack?
No, God.
Oh, do one little toot. One little toot of it.
What kind of...
No, I'm good.
What if it made you twice the tugboat captain? You don't even know. Tom's been telling me about Adderall. I'm about to do it.
It makes you better.
I'm about to do the Adderall.
Performance enhancing. Anyway, so...
I'm going to do Adderall, and then I'm going to do testosterone, and then I'm going to do crack. It's called the full tugboat. I'm doing the full tugboat.
Do it all.
So what can you make? Obviously the captain is, better paid than the crew, but let's talk with the crew. Like, what can their crew
enough to
make?
afford crack?
Crew makes like anywhere from $300 to $420 a day.
Okay, that's pretty good. $300 to $400 a day.
Yeah, and a couple toots of crack, and you. Do you let them smoke it on the boat?
You try not to, especially when you're captain. It can fall.
You got no locks in the bathrooms, right? You got to keep them open.
Whatever. If you're up there by the tires, I'm not looking at it. I don't care what you do. Just get your job done. What about you, Clark? What can a captain of a tugboat make?
I make it around 140.
All right, pretty good,
man. And all the crackheads you can bang. I'm into it. I'm into it.
But 3 months is a long... you got a family, Clark?
Just a couple dogs. And,
you need to pass this on to your son or daughter.
Yeah, no, we can't be gone for 3 months with your kids. That's what gets you.
No, you bring your kid along.
So hard to have.
You bring your kid
along. It's harder
along.
to have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's how the Alone people quit. I've been watching Alone again. They're always like, I miss my family.
The irony. And the only thing you want to be is alone.
They're the weakest one. The ones with no family, they're used to being alone.
Yeah. That's why I'm so tough. Everybody died.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Tom, can I... do you have time for a quick one? Funny story about...
Hey, Tom, you got time for a quick, horribly racist story?
I always have time.
No, I'm joking.
So I was tuna fishing out of San Diego.
I know what that means.
We go 1,200 miles south to this Mexican military-controlled island, and we're out there catching yellowfin tuna and stuff like that. But we have to check in with the Mexican military police. I kid you not, there's an island that can't be more than a square mile. And there's a building that's probably 5,000 square foot. And there's maybe 1 or 2 people that run this island. They come out in a John boat, drag it down this cliff, drive out to us on the boat. And the captain always gets you riled up. He says you got to have your passports ready and everything like that in case they want to board and check it. And instead of that actually happening, we trade them soccer balls, porno mags, and about 5 cases of beer.
I will let you do anything. I will let you do anything if you give me soccer balls, porno mags, and beer.
Who are they playing soccer with?
You win my heart.
Are they playing drunk, horny soccer?
Yeah, these are fun men. They wanted a little bit of beer. They wanted to play some games with each other, and also they wanted to, have some fun time for boys.
I mean, it blows me away because they could easily ask, hey, can you give us a tuna or give us a fish? We're catching like 150-pound tuna, and we could just give them one. But they want soccer balls, porno mags.
I don't know, man. As a young kid, if you told me, like, hey, you can have a brick of gold or a porno mag, I probably would have chosen a porno mag.
Yeah. What are they going to do? They're surrounded by fish, Clark. They don't want...
Yeah, get out of here.
They want
man.
porno and soccer.
You give me a porno mag and some crack, and now we got a Tuesday afternoon right there.
Did you tell them you have crack? Because they want that more. If you give them crack, they may start gunning you down for
they might kill you. Are they shooting? Like, as they're coming out, do you have to worry that they're approaching with weapons and that...
no, he's got a M16 or some rusty old thing.
Do you guys have guns on the boat, just in case? Do you have like an M16 or an AR or something? What are you running? What do you got?
We have pistols on, like the captain can hold a pistol on the boat.
You got some rusty revolver? No, you need to get some.
That's to keep the crackheads you have working for you back. They can start to mutiny.
Just in case.
You need some long guns, like some of these BDMs have with the scopes and the thing. You need some of those.
Yeah.
No, we use the pistol to kill, like, stupid sharks that come around and stuff like that.
Oh, animal abuse.
What are they? You're in a giant tugboat.
Look at that beautiful shark. Shoot
it. You know how fun it is to shoot a shark on crack? Awesome. That's a good time. That's worth the trip.
I mean, we can start selling that. The Tom and Dan Shark Killing Crack Expedition. So what you do is you fly into Orlando. Then we will take you out to an undisclosed location with our friend Clark on his tugboat where you will smoke crack with his crew. And then when you're in a fit of crack rage, you'll shoot at the peak of your high. You will shoot an underpowered caliber handgun, into the shark a couple of times.
We'll chum the water, get them all covered out.
And then you shoot them. Then we'll take a photo, put it in a keychain for you.
We're like, I didn't put my earmuffs on. I can't hear anything.
We can be the medieval times of shark killing.
Blow crack in my ears.
You know what? You've convinced me.
All right, Clark.
Great job, Clark.
Thanks so much for telling us about your weird job. We appreciate
a good one. This is one of my favorites.
And Clark's been listening for a long time. He always emails me. Thank you very much,
Clark. We love you, buddy.
Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun talking with you.
Please stay safe because you're the most normal man with what does sound like a relatively dangerous job. So thank you for being part of our show, man. Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Hey, Dan, sorry, stupid thing, but we got a gyro stove on our boat now.
What's a gyro stove?
Oh, so it doesn't tip over?
Yeah, so my stove is on a gyroscopic thing, and so when we're in big seas, I don't lose my soup.
That's bad. So you can have a pot of chili on in big seas, and you're fine.
Yep. Oh, it's so cool. I wanted to. Sorry, I just popped in my head.
No, but is it super expensive? No, I'm glad you're mentioning this. It sounds super expensive.
Like $10,000.
Oh my God! $10,000 gyro stove. You know how long I had to beg for new cameras in the studio from Tom?
I could stare at that high on crack all day. And then I'll be like, all right, now let's go shoot some sharks.
How are you this good with knowing what to do on crack? That's a great idea. I'm going to go inside and watch the gyro stove on crack.
Fill the chili.
What's in there? Oh, delicious chili. Oh, hot as hell.
All right, Clark. See you later, dude.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Oh, that's a good one, right?
Yeah, it is.
Gyro stove. $10,000 gyro stove.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Corporate Time. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch and YouTube. We'd ask that you join us as well. Just search for @Tom and Dan Live.
Our good friends at the Orange County Library System, right there, the downtown library. They've been partnering with us for years.
They must trust us a lot to hand this over to us. I don't know how this happened.
And their Book Fest is happening May 17th. And at the Book Fest is an author that your daughter's read that has an unbelievable life story. You
may know him from Conspiracies Decoded. You may have read his books text to your daughter 1,000 million times. Maybe you know I am Barack Obama from front to back.
Brad Meltzer's on Zoom with us. How you doing, Brad?
Good to see you guys.
Hey, man, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate the time.
I appreciate being here. This is, I said before I got on the air, my friends are huge fans of yours, and I've done as much as I could in my life to impress my friends, and none of them were impressed until now. Today, I won at least two of them over.
We knew that we cast a pretty long shadow in the pod. Nobody has a podcast these days, Brad. I don't know if you know.
I said no one. It's such a. I was like, what is this podcast thing you guys have invented?
Well, Brad, I am super shocked that your friends listen to us. Just because we are dum-dums.
We're dum-dums. Yeah. A lot of people don't even know that we can't read. A couple messages right off the dome. You are my daughter's favorite author. Thank you for doing that. Also, my wife wanted me to tell you, go Michigan. All right, go Blue.
I love that. I knew about your daughter from online, but you sold the deal with the wife. That's spectacular.
Yeah, you're in good company here, and the fact that we have you coming to Orlando to be at our book festival is a very, very big deal.
So, Brad, I have to ask you about this because 3 weeks ago I was at the 9/11 Memorial Museum in New York, and it is it's super heavy and super powerful to be there, and I saw something on your Wikipedia that I was like, well, this is crazy. And the flag, the flag that they had at Ground Zero, that is iconic flag, was at the museum. And I read that you are a big part of why that flag is at the museum right now. Can you tell us that story?
It is one of the craziest stories of my life. I did a show called Lost History on the History Channel years ago. And one of the things I went into the History Channel, I said, I want to find lost artifacts that are gone. And I knew that the 9/11 flag that the firefighters raised in that iconic photograph, when you see the firefighters raising the flag at Ground Zero, everyone knows the photo. What no one knew, including myself, was that flag went missing. 24 hours later, the flag was gone, and no one knew where it was. And I said, I want to use our TV show and ask people to bring it back. And we did, and I told the story of the flag. I told the story about my friend Michelle Heidenberg, who was a flight attendant on the Pentagon flight. I said, that's why I want this flag back, to honor her. It was a last-minute ad lib that I put into the story, and we aired the episode. And 3 days after the episode aired, a man walks into a fire station in Everett, Washington, in Washington State, and says, I saw the show Lost History. I know where the flag is. I have it, and here it is. And we spent a year authenticating it with the former head of the FBI's Art Crimes Unit. And I got to unveil that flag in the 9/11 museum. If you notice, when you go and see it, my name's on the plaque that's there when you look at it in the museum. And to be able to unveil that, someone sent me a picture of a Pearl Harbor vet saluting that flag, saying, hey, man, you brought this back, and look what it meant to this Pearl Harbor vet. One of the most humbling moments of my life. You can't make that stuff up. It was crazy.
That is crazy. And it's crazy that person saw, was there an explanation about, did he just take the flag home that day?
No, here's the story. So no one wanted to know. I was like, why does the guy have the flag? What happened? He was a flag collector. And the flag was given to a woman who lost someone in 9/11. So one of her, I guess it was her husband or someone, passed away. Sure. Don't forget, on that night when that flag went up, it's not a famous flag yet. It's just a flag that they raised on a pole. It doesn't become famous until 2 days later when Newsweek puts it on the cover. Then it becomes the most famous flag on the planet at that point. But no one knows that when he gets it. And what happened that was crazy is so she gave it to him, and he didn't really think about it. He was a collector, so he put it in his closet. And the amazing part he said to me I called the History Channel. I said, I want to thank, we offered $10,000 if you brought it back. And I said, I want to thank him. He never took the money. He never took the $10,000, even at the end. He never did it for the money. And he said to me, when I called him to thank him, because no one had felt like it thanked him, he said, you want to know why I brought it back? I said, yeah. He said, because you talked about your friend Michelle Heidenberg, the flight attendant, and that really got to me. And that was the last ad lib that I put on while I was recording the show, just because I couldn't fathom 3,000 people dead in 9/11. but I knew I missed my friend.
Yeah.
And he's like, and that's why I brought it back. And I got to tell Michelle's husband, I said, we found the flag.
Oh, man.
And we're going to unveil it. And thanks to, I brought it back for your wife. And he said, no, dummy, you didn't bring it back for her. He said, you brought it back for me and all of those who survived. That's the closure. That's the thing. That's who you brought it back for. And Michelle would tell you you didn't bring it back for her. And it was just such an emotional moment for me to be able to do that for my dear friend. It was incredible.
It seems like you've always had, well, I don't know this to be true. I'll ask you, like, have you always had a very good and approachable relationship with the people that enjoy your writings or your shows or your children's books or any of that? Because it does seem like we care about you as much as it seems you care about us. And you don't always get that with a writer. You don't always get that with an author. So where did you get the connect? Because I heard a story on another radio show about how at the end of when you're writing a book, a children's book, one of your Ordinary People Change the World books, that you'll sit with your wife and you guys will kind of talk about and go back and forth and you're kind of, throwing everything at the wall to try and dredge up like emotions. And that is something I feel like a lot of people don't really do anymore. The authentic emotion,
Yeah, no, I love you for it. I mean, I started this, let's just talk about it for a moment, this kids book series. I write thrillers and murder people all day long. That's my primary job, right?
Right.
We do the JFK conspiracy. We show you JFK's head exploding. It's all real history for adults, which is the perfect transition to kids books. But I had kids, right? And I was like, I want to give my kids better heroes to look up to, heroes of kindness and compassion. We did I Am Amelia Earhart, I Am Abraham Lincoln, I Am Rosa Parks. We did all these books. But to me, as you said, they have to be human, and there's not a strategy. It's not like I was like, I'm going to be this to my readers because they're this. It's just what I was taught growing up. My family had nothing. I knew what it was like going to school and having no friends. When my parents moved, when I was about to start high school, and anyone who's ever moved when you're about to start high school, when you go into that cafeteria that first day and you have no one to sit with, I know it sounds like a terrible high school movie. But man, if your heart, doesn't open to everyone else for the rest of your life, I tell my kids every year they go to school, they know they hear one thing from me: anyone sitting alone, you go sit with them.
Yeah.
Why? Not because I'm a nice person, but because I hurt that day.
Yeah.
Right. It hurt me that day to be alone like that and have no one sit with me. And then that first kid that did sit with me, I was like, oh man, I got to pay the universe back. And that's that's all I feel like I'm doing. So like the new kids book is We Are the Beatles, right? That's the newest one that just came out a couple of days ago. But I was, when we do the books, I as you said, I sit with my wife, and I'm going to read you. This is because it's one that got to me. This one actually got to me. I'm glad I have it here. But it was this line. My wife and I throw her every line I have until I can make her cry. And it says life is. We are the Beatles, and it says they were working class teenagers. They didn't go to fancy schools. They just liked making music with their best friends. And it says, this is the line that got me and made her cry. It says, life isn't meant to be lived alone. Here's our secret. Find what you love and find friends who love it just as much. Laugh together, dream together, create together, make each other better. When it gets hard, you'll be able to get by with a little help from your friends. And my wife was like, that's it. That's the core of the Beatles. And when she's crying and I get emotional, I'm like, that's the book. And if I can't make her cry, then I'm like, the book's not done. And so whether it's We Are the Beatles or I'm Amelia Earhart or Make Magic or whatever we're working on, I don't know. I feel like that's all that matters to me is that human side. I don't care about the famous parts. I don't care what's in the Wikipedia entry. Like, show me who you are. Tell me who you are, and I'll show you what kind of person you are.
Yeah, here, let me put up I'm going to put it up. There's a young Dolly Parton right there.
I remember that.
Yeah, and then here is another one. Here is a young Frida Kahlo. Look, man, if your kids don't have these books, you're little guys. These are for little guys. Well, these are amazing books that are, I have a ton of them. Well, I can't speak highly enough of them.
Speaking of fans of your writing, Bill Clinton and George W. Bush were such fans of your writing that is it true that was it W that gave you a letter that he wrote Clinton, like I haven't heard presidents write letters,
This is crazy. I'm going to tell you the craziest. So George H.W. Bush Sr., I was doing a book about secret messages that presidents can pass to each other over time. And I said to President Bush, President Bush and Clinton had written me letters that they liked my thrillers. They read my thrillers.
What is
that?
So
I wrote to them.
Hold on. What is that?
Crazy. Trust me. I know. I am not pausing for one. I am just as like when that letter came, I thought when I worked in the government once as an intern for the Senate Judiciary Committee. And in the Senate Judiciary Committee, the only thing I used to do with the Senate Judiciary stationery is I used to write letters to my friends. I used a pen signing machine to sign my name at the senator's name at the bottom. And I would write to all my friends in Miami and tell them they were being deported. Like, that's what I did in college. Like, in college, any friend of mine in college got a deportation letter from the Senate Judiciary Committee. So when I got a letter from the White House and one from President Bush, like, I was like, oh, this is someone playing a joke on me doing what I used to do with the pen signing machine. And I called up and I said, hey, someone wrote a letter. They're looking for a free book. Because he said, hey, I'd love if you could sign a copy for me. And they said, oh, you got President Bush's letter. And I'm like, oh, this is real? I was like, you're serious. I thought it was a prank. So I became friends with them. They had me come to their offices. I wound up doing research with them. And I said to them, could you send a secret message in the letter that you put in the White House desk when you leave office? They always leave a letter for the next president.
Yeah.
So Reagan left one for Bush, and Bush left one for Clinton. Clinton left one for Bush Jr. And President Bush sent me the letter, the secret letter that he left for Bill Clinton in his desk. And no one had ever seen it. His biographer had never seen it. No, I went on national TV on Good Morning America, and I said, can I show people this? He's like, yeah. And the reason, if you've seen that letter floating around during the elections, it's because I put it out there because Bush sent it to me. And my wife was like, why do you send it to you? His biographer's like, why'd you send it to Meltzer? Like, what? I'm your biographer. Like, what are you doing? But here's the crazier story, is they both blurbed this book I did a history book called The First Conspiracy. It was about the secret plot to kill George Washington. True story. George Washington there was a plot to kill him at the height of the Revolutionary War. When George Washington heard about it, he gathered up those men responsible. He built a gallows, and then he hanged the main person responsible in front of 20,000 people, the largest public execution at that point in North American history. Whoa. George Washington brought the hammer down, was like, do not mess with me. I'm George Washington. I'm going to be on the money one day. That's a direct quote from him, by the way.
That's some wooden teeth anger or bone. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, well, that's what you have to do. Yeah. We all seen Game of Thrones. You have to hang the person trying to get you.
You got to hang the guy. So this is a story I couldn't tell until a few years ago. When Bush Sr., he died a few years ago, and what I couldn't tell anyone is that right when he was dying, they asked some of his favorite authors to come read to him on his deathbed, basically. And I got the call. Whoa. And I'm in Kennebunkport, Maine, and they have me come in, and the Secret Service says to me, listen, you can see, President Bush is in pretty bad shape. You're going to read to him for like 5 minutes. He's going to fall asleep on you because he's sleeping most of the day now. I said, no problem. I'm honored to be here. So 5-10 minutes, you'll leave. You got it. Secret Service leaves. And now it's just myself, my wife, President Bush, and his service dog, Sully. Whoa. And he's got a stack of books on his desk. And in this stack of books, I can see he has a copy of The First Conspiracy, the George Washington book. And he gave me a blurb on it. And I said, sir, you want to read this book? It looks like it's been read so many times, like dog-eared. He says, because he can't speak anymore. He just says, or And so I start reading to him. And sure enough, in like 5 minutes, he falls asleep. But I want to finish the chapter. I figure I'll finish this chapter in a couple more pages, and then I'll get out of here. And I brought the chapter where George Washington has the Declaration of Independence read to his troops for the very first time. And he's sleeping, and I get to those words, though. Those words we all know. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And as I say the words, President Bush's eyes pop open. Whoa. And he's just locked on me. Like he's got an infusion from the Declaration of Independence itself. And I get to the end of the chapter. I'm like, sir, you want to read another chapter? He goes, And I get to the end of that chapter. I say, sir, you want to read another one? And another, sir? And instead of being there for 5 or 10 minutes, I'm there for an hour. And I say goodbye to him. I know I'm never going to see him again. I can see what shape he's in. And to be able to read about the very first president to, at that point, the person who is the oldest living president in the United States is, again, one of those ridiculous. I'm like, when did my life become Forrest Gump? My wife, she's like, what are you doing?
And you got me mind blown. Also you got me a little weepy. Man,
Brett, that's an insane story.
I know you know it. And for years I was like, they're like, yeah, don't say anything. And then finally they were like, they were doing a book on President Bush, and they were like, we'd like you to tell the story. So then I was able to tell the story. But I was like carrying that around, and I'm just like, no one would believe this story. This is a crazy story.
This kind of goes back to my question
insane.
again about how do you find yourself in these that's a wild situation, man.
And
no, brother, trust me, I feel the same.
That's just you're insane.
Reading to George Bush Sr. on his deathbed a book about the first president. You're right. It is like a unbelievable Forrest Gump scenario.
It does sound a little fake almost.
Trust me. My wife is like if my wife wasn't there and I came home that night and told her that story, she'd be like, no way.
Yeah,
but she was there with me. Like I have a picture of us together with Bush that day. Like
he can't be that good at ping pong and shrimp. It's impossible.
Right. Barbecue shrimp.
Yeah. So
Cajun shrimp.
So Brad, okay, speaking of crazy stories,
that is wild.
And by the way, that one's not on your Wikipedia. Someone should put that on there.
Whoa.
I know, we got to put that on there.
One of our listeners put that on there now. Holy smokes.
But what is on your...
you know what? If you need a link to it, it's a USA Today story that they published it, so you can link to it. Someone put it on there.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, we will need a footnote. Yeah, that's great.
But let me read off some other ones.
Okay, please.
Meltzer...
I don't even know what's on there. I'm excited to see what it is.
Okay, cool.
Meltzer aided in helping save the life of his 11th grade history teacher.
This is crazy.
So how did that happen?
First of all, I love you for doing this research. So this is a banana story. So my life was changed. My love of history came from a woman named Ellen Sherman. And Mrs. Sherman, whatever, she was my 11th grade history teacher. And I remember, I'll never forget, she wheeled into the room one day. We had a movie, when the TV would come, the teacher would bring it, and you're psyched when there's a movie day, right? Yeah. When that TV came rolling into your room,
you can hear it coming down the hall. You hear it.
And right now, you all hear the AV kids bring it, and usually it's a substitute. But she was in class and we were seeing a movie, and it was a JFK movie, and it wasn't one of those kooky, crazy ones, but it would ask the JFK stories that should be asked, like what is Lee Harvey Oswald doing in Russia at the height of the Cold War as a former Marine? What is Jack Ruby, how does he get into this police station that's supposedly guarded by questions that are really vital to this day. And it just cracked something open in me, changed my life, made me really fall in love with history. And so I wrote a book based on Decoded on the TV show we did. We did a book that was the top 10 conspiracies of all time. And I decided I'm going to dedicate this book to Mrs. Sherman. So I dedicate the book to her. I hadn't spoken to her in a decade. And I wanted to tell her, hey, listen, we dedicate this book. So I get a phone number from someone who knew her. And I said, I want to call her and tell her. So I email her, or maybe I even email her. And she said, and I say, hey, this new book that's coming out is dedicated to you as my teacher. And she says, can I ask you a question? And we go back and forth a little bit. I go, yeah. And she goes, this is going to sound crazy. She's like, but my kidneys are failing. And I'm looking for a match. And I can't find one. And I see you have over 100,000 people that follow you on Facebook. Would you mind posting about my kidneys to see if you can help me find a match? And I'm like, you know what? Why not? You're the teacher, helped change my life. Sure, I'll post about it. So I post about it. And here's the craziest part of this story is we get a woman who says, yes. I say, anyone who volunteers, if you're the match for my teacher, I'll make you a character in my next thriller. And so all these people donate and say, we're going to give a body part to a stranger, which is crazy to begin with, but it gets crazier. And then this one woman is a match. They do it, you have to test. It's not just that you donate, but you got to be a match for the person. So this first woman, the first donor, she is a match. She flies down to Florida to get tested to see if she's a match. They say, you are a match. But she writes to me and I say, what happened? They go, they brought me down for a biopsy. And when they were doing the testing on me, they found cancer on my own, something in her body. Oh, wow. And she's like, Brad, you actually saved my life. I can't be a donor for your teacher, but you just saved my life because you caught my cancer early. I would have never known about it. I'm like, no, I didn't save your life. You saved your life by being a volunteer for a stranger. So now we
Brad Meltzer.
No, but this is where it gets crazier.
Hold on, you should have saved George Bush's life.
What the hell? You're picking and choosing.
And so now I'm like, well, we still don't have a match. Yes, we saved this other woman. Okay, fine. But we don't have a match for Mrs. Sherman. And I'm going through my spam folder one day, which I never do, but one of those days you're cleaning out your desk. And I see that there's a letter that says, hey, Brad, I wrote to Mrs. Sherman, but I tried to be a volunteer. It's by this woman, Amy. she's like, so do me a favor, pass my email along. And I'm like, I'm sure she's going to respond to you. She's got a lot of people. But for whatever reason, I'm just like, I don't even know why, but I say, Mrs. Sherman, in case you missed this one, here's this woman, Amy. And it winds up that Amy becomes the actual match. And she comes down. She is the match. She saves Mrs. Sherman's life. Wow. CBS News comes down because they hear about the story. They want to do the story. And the reporter says to me, by the way, did Mrs. Sherman, why did she miss Amy's first email? And I'm like, you know what? I never thought about that. It's been a year. Let me ask her. And I said to Mrs. Sherman, I said, whatever happened to Amy's first email? She goes, I didn't even think about that either. Let me go looking for it. And she goes looking in her computer, and it's in Mrs. Sherman's spam folder. And if I didn't find it that day, it would have just stayed in spam forever. For God knows what reason, it went into her spam, and it would have gone away. But it was the one that I just happened to pick out of all the ones that were sent to me. And I said, here, just check this one out. And again, you can't make this stuff up. I make things up for a living. I couldn't make this story up if I tried.
Has anybody investigated you for being an angel man? Are you an angel? You're an angel man.
I mean, all the evidence is there.
You're Michael Landon. You're Michael Landon.
No, I will tell you this. This is my honest answer, is I have my life. I had an English teacher who changed my life by telling me I can write. She, tried to put me in honors class. She was like, no, you're going to listen to what ignore everything I do on the blackboard, ignore every homework assignment I give. You're going to do the honors work instead. And a decade later, I went back to her classroom. I knocked on the door. She said, can I help you? I said, my name is Brad Meltzer, and I wrote this book, and it's for you. And she starts crying, and I'm like, why are you crying? She goes, I was going to retire this year because I didn't think I was having an impact anymore. I said, are you kidding me? You have 30 students. We have one teacher. You changed my life. And I'm telling you that story for this reason. My wife went to the same high school I did, and she said, you have all these stories with these teachers that are so profound. I had the same teachers. I have none of those stories. Why do you have them? And it took me a while to figure it out, and I realized is these teachers knew my wife didn't need any help. They saw and knew she came from a family where she was going to be fine. She was going to make it to college. But these teachers looked at me struggling, and they knew my family was struggling, and they knew I was I was the first in my family to go to a 4-year college in my immediate family. And those teachers looked at me and knew I needed help. And that's why they picked me out. And I think that I've been the lucky recipient of these things because all I've been trying to do is really pay back the universe with a little bit of that kindness that was shown me. And that's the only reason these things keep happening is because I was shown so much kindness at a time when I needed it, and that's the only explanation I have for it.
Angels don't need help. Okay, I'm going to keep going, Brad, or should I call you Forrest at this point? In May 2024, Meltzer delivered the commencement address of the University of Michigan in front of 70,000 people, including his own graduating son.
That's all. Oh, my.
This was the best one. This may be my favorite one.
I didn't know your son was there. And again, this became a book, and you can pick up this book. In fact, I'm going to pick it up because I haven't read it yet. But can you tell us this?
Yeah, so 70,000 people are in the stadium, and I'm focused on one. My son is graduating that day. Wow. And when I told my son I was going to be the graduation speaker at the University of Michigan, his first words, he said to me, why'd they pick you? There's so many better people they could pick. He's like, they could pick Tom Brady. He's like, he said to me, I'll never forget, he said to me this word, he said, it's like a 13th seed winning March Madness. That's what he said to me.
Your boy's funny. Is he a writer too? That's funny.
Brad,
no, he's just a kid, man. He's just an insulting college-age kid. But what happened was, so I give this speech, and the speech I give is about magic. That there are some things you can't explain, and that's what magic is. And my job as a writer is I got to make things appear out of thin air. But when you talk to magicians, they'll tell you that there are only 4 types of magic tricks, right? If you put aside illusions and escapes, there's only 4 types of tricks. You make something appear. 2, you make something disappear. 3, you make 2 things switch places. And 4, you take one thing and you turn it into something else, which is the hardest trick of all, transformation. And I went through my speeches all about making magic. And I walked through what you have to make appear in your life, what you have to make disappear in life, which we can talk about. But it's that third trick, those making 2 things switch places. I said, here, let's talk about empathy. Because that's what empathy is, right? It's switching places with someone else and putting yourself in their shoes. And when I first moved to Florida, when I was 13 years old, as I told you, my parents had no money. And we had to live in we had to move in with my grandparents because we couldn't afford anywhere else. So it was 6 of us, my mom, my dad, my sister, myself, and 2 grandparents in a 1-bedroom apartment. And it was obviously, 1 bedroom. We were sleeping on the floor and couches everywhere. And everyone was trying to get us evicted in the condominium because they were like, you can't have 6 people in one place. It's too small. Everyone was trying to evict us. And this one woman across the hall, my grandmother's neighbor, saw what was happening. And she said, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to move out, and you're going to take my apartment so your family can have some space. The nicest thing to this day, I think, that anyone's ever done for me in my entire life. And I remember as a kid, her name was Mercy. But as a kid, I always heard it as Mercy. And make no mistake, mercy and empathy is what she showed us. And today, cruelty and venom and harshly judging those we disagree with, it's become sport in our culture. But cruelty and venom aren't proof of strength. They're signs of weakness and petty insecurity. What takes strength is showing people kindness and empathy. And when I finished the speech, all these people around the country were asking me for the text of the speech. They were like, I want to give this as a gift for graduation. I want to give this to my niece, my nephew, my cousin. I need it for myself. Can you give it? And I've been doing this 28 years. No one's ever asked for the text of anything I said. But people were tracking down my sister. Like, they all wanted it. And so eventually we came out with Make Magic. Yeah. It just came out, the book of inspiration you didn't know you needed. And it's literally the contents of that speech in a gift form that you can kind of give out for anyone who you think needs a little bit of magic in their lives today. And it's one of my favorite things I've ever written.
Awesome. Yeah, and those are real things that we can control too. That's what's man.
I was just
so cool.
Laughing a minute. Everybody's like cheering except for your son. Your son's boring.
Let me tell you the great Orlando connection to this book, which I don't get to tell, but I'm going to embarrass him because I'm sure he's listening because I know him. So one of the stories that I tell in the book is the second magic trick is what you have to make disappear. And what you have to make, everyone wants to make your fear disappear. But let me challenge that and tell you this story. When I was growing up in Florida, I used to work at the Aventura Mall in North Miami Beach in Aventura. And there was this woman came up and she started snapping her fingers at me. She's like, you got to serve me. And I'm like, ma'am, I'll be right with you. And she's like, no, you got to serve me now at this Haagen-Dazs. Serve me now. And I said, you know what, ma'am, take your business elsewhere. We're not giving you any ice cream today. And she screams in my face. I'll never forget it. She screamed at me. She said, you're going to be working at this miserable ice cream store for the rest of your miserable life. And I calmly said to her, ma'am, if I am working here for the rest of my miserable life, you're still never getting any ice cream. and I used to always tell that story laughing, saying it didn't bother me, but it did bother me.
Yeah,
it did. And it made me feel small. It made me feel like I was going to struggle like my dad struggled financially all his life. And but what I do also realize is that woman drove me. She fueled me. So instead of making your fear disappear, you're supposed to harness your fear and use it. Now, here's the Orlando part. Is the person who worked at that Haagen-Dazs with me is my dear friend Nick Wickett. And Nick Wickett, I used to wear at that Haagen-Dazs. It was the 80s, so I used to wear a gold chain with a Superman insignia on it.
Yes.
And Nick used to wear a gold chain with a like a dolphin whale tail, like at the back, because he always wanted to train the dolphins and whales at SeaWorld. That was his dream. And if I had very little, Nick had less. If I had 2 parents, he was a single mom family. Like, he struggled even more than my family did. But that was his dream, to like work with the whales and dolphins at SeaWorld. And I'm like, good luck, buddy. Nice, hope it works out for you. And so I lose track of Nick. We go our separate ways to college. There was no Facebook back then, so I didn't know where he was. When my first book comes out, I send out invitations to anyone who I knew in high school. And Nick happens to get the invitation. And 10 years later, right before our high school reunion, he shows up at one of my first book signings in Vero Beach. And no one's there. It's like my family's there and nobody's there at those early signings. And he shows up with a pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream.
Whoa.
And I'm like, man, what are you doing now? And he says, guess. And I said, I have no idea. I said, where do you live? He says, Orlando. And I said, wait a minute. I said, you train the dolphins at SeaWorld, don't you? And he says, I do. So he invites me to SeaWorld. This is all true. And Nick still works there. And he had me eventually come when my kids were little. And he puts me in like a special place so I can watch. He's like the dolphin show. And I figure he's going to throw some fish at the dolphins. And all of a sudden, the first dolphin jumps out of the water. And on the nose of the dolphin, as it goes like 50 feet in the air, Nick is standing on the nose of the dolphin. He's not in the show. He is the star of the show. And I start bawling, crying, because I'm watching this kid who had nothing live his dream in front of my eyes. And the greatest part is when Make Magic came out, he was like, "You told that story of that woman that told us to screw off," and I was like. So Nick is a huge fan of yours and listens to your show, and he still works at SeaWorld.
Well, shout out to Nick.
We need to get Nick in here.
We'll get Nick in here too. And it would have been
Send me an
funny
email,
if you
Nick.
said, like, "Oh man, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Still at the Haagen-Dazs." Right? Like, that's what I thought you were going to say. Like, we're very negative here. I'm sorry.
Very different story.
Yeah.
Very different story.
And now no one speaks English, so I can't even understand.
This is rough.
I was about to say, Brad. I was like, I knew I liked Brad. He grew up in Miami. I grew up in Miami, which, by the way, I did laugh because you dated yourself by saying that someone did talk to you in English. That's happened to them all. I was like, that doesn't seem right. Brad, last story, because, and this is more of a whimsical tale, not so heavy, like saving multiple lives.
Yeah,
and
this guy's a national treasure. You are a treasure, man.
During Star Wars night in 2015 at the Marlins-Mets baseball game, Meltzer threw out the first pitch of the game and then proceeded to have a lightsaber fight with Billy the Marlin.
Well, listen. So I've thrown out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
Where
Wow.
I was actually that one I was nervous for. 'Cause
That's
right
huge.
before I went on. I literally was pretty calm about it because I can throw. I'm a good pitcher. I can throw it. I'm not worried. But it's still Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
And I was pretty calm. And then my son, they announced my name. They're like, Brad Meltzer, best-selling writer, and come to the mound, and the organ plays, and my son leans over to me and he says to me,
I think he hung up on us. I think he was getting a call, and he went to say goodbye, and he hung up on us. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I know that's what happened. He'll call back.
I hope it sounds like this isn't that impressive either.
No, we're just gonna stay. We're gonna stay right here.
Okay,
we'll just stay
all right.
right here. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. That's my favorite guest. That guy's rad.
Yeah.
Oh my God, how good is that guy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even joking. There's like 5 other stories. Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right.
This is gonna be fun.
Okay.
This makes it even better. There we go. All right.
Oh.
oh my God, that was like the greatest. That was the craziest. I don't even know what happened. It just lost. Wait, you want me to?
You're fine.
I can't believe that.
We stayed on.
Okay.
We're good. We're good.
Okay, good. So anyway,
I was like, what if the devil came to go?
Right? No, it took me away. So as they announce my name, my son leans over to me and goes, he says, "Don't F it up." And I'm like, I'm like, oh no. So I'm overthinking this. So now I do the Marlins one, and it's Star Wars night. If it's Star Wars night, you think I'm not packing a lightsaber?
Yeah.
So I pull out a lightsaber and I get into a fight with Billy the Marlin. And the best part of that one is it makes Sports Center. And now my kid is, because he's a crazy sports nut, of all the things I've done in my life, making Sports Center was it. And so I got to fight Billy the Marlin with a lightsaber on the mound.
I mean, that's wild, man.
Unbelievable.
That's really, really cool that you get to do stuff like that, though. Especially with the boys.
Well, I will tell you that I did get to take my kids to the set of Star Wars. That was better. Because I know the people who do Star Wars, and I took them, and I literally went on the Millennium Falcon, the real one, like when they were filming the new movie. And when my 2 kids, like the 2 boys, jump in the 2 seats, and my youngest says to my oldest, "Hit the hyperdrive, Chewie," and my oldest says, "No, I'm Han Solo, you're Chewie."
Oh yeah,
and they're like, "You're in the wrong seat," and they look at me because I'm the Star Wars guy, and they're like, "Dad, who's right?" But usually, when you see the Falcon, you're seeing it from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
I was looking at it from behind. I'm like, I don't know. I'm so turned around now. And they point to my oldest son. The tour guide says to me, points to him, the guy taking us around. And my son's like, "Hit the hyperdrive, Chewie." And it was crazy. They put us in a room and they said to my kids, "Who's your favorite Jedi?" And they gave him, and my youngest son at the time said Kylo Ren, and my oldest said Darth Vader. And they brought out Kylo Ren's real lightsaber and Darth Vader's real lightsaber. And my youngest lights it up and goes like this. And I said, "Do not break that lightsaber." Like, it was the real one. And the guy says to my kid, "No, that's Adam Driver's real lightsaber. He hits like a mother. Your kid can hit as hard as he wants." And my kids are literally fighting with Darth Vader's and Kylo Ren's real, actual lightsabers. It was the craziest day of my life. Like,
that's wild.
And I've told you some crazy stories, but we were in Star Wars.
I
man.
just like
You're fighting with the actual lightsabers from the movie?
Yeah, I just like hearing your life takes. Like, I didn't know you were such a big, like sort of a nerd, like into that sort of stuff. And then I was listening to something the other day, and you were talking about how much you liked Thunderbolts and how it actually has a like a mental health message, kind of too.
Listen, you're talking to. I've written Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. I'm sitting in front of a signed lightsaber. I love this stuff, and I grew up with it. And the fact that they've asked me to work on those things that's
amazing.
Listen, I love my job, but when I get to write Batman and put words in Batman's mouth, I'm wearing my underpants on the outside of my jeans that day.
Yeah, no,
that's the best day.
Well, you helped save Superman's house. That's another one.
You know what? We're trying to build a statue right now for Superman in Cleveland, Ohio. If you have any interest and you want to make a big donation, I'm not joking. We're trying. You know that Cleveland, Ohio, does not have a statue except in the airport. They have this little one that we helped put there. But we want to put a statue downtown by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that you can go up and take pictures with. A true man of steel, made of steel. And there's a nice nonprofit that's working on it right now. And so if you have an interest in it and you want your name on the plaque, just reach out to me through Instagram or any of my social media.
That's cool.
And again, I have no dog in the fight. I'm just trying to help a nice group. They're a really nice charity, and I've been trying to help them raise money to put this statue where it should be.
Awesome,
well,
man.
Brad, it's been unbelievable talking to you today. I mean,
we hope we get to do it again if you're ever in
Listen,
town.
I said make sure I have your number so we can reach each other, because when the next book comes out, I'll come back. You guys are so much fun.
Oh, we would love that, man. And you know what's funny is that I don't think Tom has dipped his toe into some of your history books, but my wife was right. She was
going to now.
She was putting together a list of books for you that she thinks you will because my wife reads.
Oh, you're gonna like the Nazi conspiracy. You're gonna like the JFK conspiracy, like those. But the first one. I mean, they're crazy real stories that happened.
Yeah, I love it.
I feel like, speaking of Superman, Brad is like Bizarro Tom. We're both from Miami, and I have a bunch of stories that are not meaningful at all. They're bizarre, but everyone's like, nah.
Kind of like Unbreakable, like Mr. Glass vibe.
I jumped Gravedigger in a bear suit.
Jumping Gravedigger in the bear suit is pretty awesome. Don't undersell that, man. That's quality stuff right there.
It's no reading to George Bush on his deathbed and saving 2 lives, including his high school teacher.
Including your inspiration.
I mean, we didn't even get to entertaining Barbara Bush at her 90th birthday party. There's a million. We'll definitely have you back on. But if you want to meet Brad, he's going to be at the Book Fest at the Orange County Library.
Yes,
so
sir.
that's May 17th. And that's why Brad is talking to us today, and OCLS.org.
Yes, sir.
And,
hey, thank you again, man. We can't thank you enough. We appreciate your time.
Appreciate you guys. Can't wait.
Thanks, Brad.
See you, man. That was pretty unbelievable, right?
That was awesome.
It's funny when you talk to somebody that you get the vibe that they truly enjoy living their life. You know what I mean? Like, I get the vibe from him, and I don't look. So much of what we do in here is like a humor. It can be rooted in negativity and this, that, and the other thing. But like people like that, when I just watch them exist, they do make me feel like I'm like, there's a man that enjoys his life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, this guy he's being a good human. He's saving people's lives. He's connecting the dots for charities. He's finding flags that are missing. He's finding kidneys. He finds flags in kidneys. You know what I mean?
Some people just end up living this life that, it must be a combination. I mean, sometimes it's just luck, too, and, like, right place, right time, but also the energy you put off, what you do.
No. His can't be coincidence at this point. He's put off so much good energy that it's coming back.
Yeah. Well, the problem with that statement is there's someone's like, I've been really good. I have no
God
one
doesn't
knows
like you. God doesn't like you. Sorry, you're not
God
an
loves
angel.
Brad.
Not an angel.
Also, I do think this kind of plays into it.
God, I hate that you're right about that too.
Well, because
that's
you can't
the sad part. That's the sad part.
There's plenty of good people that do good, then bad things happen. But another thing that I think plays into it, and this kind of happened with Ross Tucker, where a friend of Ross Tucker told Ross, like, oh, I listen to Tom, and then so
we have a lot of that. Friends of famous people like us, but famous people don't like us. But friends of normos, normos that know super famous people. So, like, remember when it was said that Dave Matthews loves our show? from like a friend of Dave Matthews told Dave Matthews that he loves our show. Not Dave Matthews. Dave Matthews doesn't love our show.
Yeah, friends of famous people.
Friends of famous people love our show.
So a friend of Brad is like, oh, I love Tom and Dan. And so then I feel like psychologically that Brad, because he knows his friend's going to listen, is like, I'm going to give it 100%. You know what I'm saying? Like, and normally like, I'm going to tell him the good stories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's more in.
Yeah, like, because if I think about it, if you're, this guy has lived an unbelievable life and has done a lot of interviews.
That old.
No, he's not.
My age.
But he, in other interviews, he may like, well, whatever. Because I think that is true. Where if you think to yourself, I've never heard of this show, and I don't know anybody who listens to it, so it's kind of like you give it some people give it a solid 80, but
you don't think he was
Tom
lying?
Van, I give it a 42.
You don't think he was lying a little bit when he was like, yeah, I love you guys, or like, I've seen it on.
No, his buddy, he's like, my friend told me. No, that's it.
Right.
He wouldn't said because that's something weird to say unless it was true. And then he mentioned
it's like
his name.
when I said to our next door neighbor. Remember, we have a med spa next door to our show, and I walked outside and I met the med spa lady, and I was like, oh hi, and I was like, oh, I've heard really good things about you, which is a lie. And then she goes, what have you heard? And I go, this, that, and the other thing.
I guess we'd find out if the dolphin trainer really exists, but there's not that many dolphin trainers.
He said his name, he doxed him.
Yeah. And,
well, there's not much animal activity over there anymore, right?
No, they still got him.
This guy might be puppeting. He might have his hand in Kermit the Frog or something.
If you're his friend, send us an email so we know he's
not a goddamn liar.
Yeah. But Brad was cool, and if you want to meet him and talk to him, you could meet him at the library on May 17th.
That book festival is going to be something special. There's a lot of great stuff. You're going to have to go to the website to actually check it out, and I do think you need to register to be a part of it. So again, you're definitely going to want to go there and check that out. Should we get out of here?
Yep. We will see you on Monday.